Chapter 1780. Master, are you going to the ethereal dynasty? Fen Tian looked at King Yewu in surprise. From his memories, King Yewu had only left the divine capital once. That was to fight against the foreign races. I'm going to meet the Merit Emperor and meet this nephew of mine. How many days until their wedding? King Yewu asked. There's still half a month, but only Knight Soro's family and a few friends know about it, Fen Tian said. Isn't he the region lord? Shouldn't all the forces in the region respect him? Why is he still so low-key? But that's good too. King Yewu looked at the sky and thought about something. Knight Soro cultivated hard every day. All the combat skills and absolute arts he learned in the past were integrated into the mixed essence spear art. The wedding date was getting closer and closer. Tsang Ning and Wufeng also moved to the Night Moon Villa. Sister Xian, what you said that day made me a little dizzy. Now I understand. You've already married yourself off, so you're worried about me. Tsang Ning took out the big red dress he prepared for Lin Piaomiao. I'll marry you off first. After that, I'll decide. Lin Piaomiao looked at the red phoenix dress Tsang Ning took out and was very satisfied. Brother, this is the wedding robe I prepared for you. Wufeng also took out a red lacquered box. After opening it, there was a wedding robe inside. Thank you, brother. Thank you, Boss Tsang. Knight Soro cupped his hands at Wufeng and Tsang Ning. Don't call me Boss Tsang in the future. My boss isn't as big as yours. Just call me Tsang Ning, Tsang Ning said. Tsang Ning said. She already knew about Yishang. She also knew that Yishang had killed several monarchs from the Demon Wing clan, so she was very respectful to Yishang. Sister Xian, let's hold the wedding on Night Moon Villa, okay? Knight Soro looked at Lin Piaomiao. I'll listen to you. Lin Piaomiao nodded with a happy smile on her face. Everyone from the Yi family was here, including Yu Yangyu and Papa Gu. Knight Soro had asked Yang Lei to fetch Yu Yangyu. Since senior brother Sandalwood isn't here, there's no need to call the other senior brothers of the Medicine Valley. Everyone has their own things to do. Luo, just invite Master Qing Emperor and his wife over later. Don't inform the others. Keep everything simple, Knight Soro said after thinking for a while. Knight Soro didn't have to worry about receiving guests, so he just chatted with his children. Do you think that your father did something wrong? Knight Soro said apologetically as he looked at his children. He felt that he had not been a good role model. Father, you're thinking too much. Mother and Andy have already explained to us what happened. We're all very clear about it, so we can't wait to congratulate Father. How could we think that Father is in the wrong? Yi Xiaolei said. Thank you for your understanding. How about the four of you accompany Father for a drink or two tonight? Knight Soro said to his children. Yi Qingyan and the others were very happy. They rarely spent time with Knight Soro. Yi Qingyan and Yi Yujun were still fine. Knight Soro had accompanied them when they were young. Yi Xiaolei and Yi Xiaoluo's impression of their father was mostly based on hearsay. Seeing the five of them chatting happily, no one disturbed them. Even Knight Soro's wife didn't come close. In the past, Father was worried about your safety. When you came to Night Moon Villa, I didn't even dare to let you go out to play. In the future, you can do whatever you want. This is also our family's territory. Father relies on women. It's not very glorious. Knight Soro laughed self-mockingly. Father, this wasn't your intention. Actually, this is what I admire the most about Father. You have good luck with women. Yi Qingyan smiled as she poured Knight Soro a cup of wine. Lower your voice. Your grandfather will scold us if he hears you. Knight Soro pointed at Yi Wuyo, who was accompanying Yu Yangyu and Qing Emperor. During the wedding preparations, Knight Soro would sometimes accompany Papa Gu, Yu Yangyu, and Qing Emperor to chat. Sometimes, he would also be dragged by Pu Luo, Great Demon King, and the others to drink. However, he would cultivate his spear techniques for a while every day. Lin Piaomiao also told Knight Soro about the scouts outside Star Moon Lake. They were from the Celestial Sect. Moreover, they were showing signs of gathering. They're going to attack Star Moon Lake. Ice Dragon and Jean Ling won't be able to stop the two celestial sect emperors. Night Sorrow was a little worried. Head GFA, PH, Elder Luo's doppelganger is on the way. Sang Ning's doppelganger is already in Star Moon City. Why don't they try attacking? So, you can just wait patiently to marry me. Lin Piaomiao said with a smile. And, then I'm relieved. Night Sorrow nodded. On this day, Night Sorrow finished cultivating his spear techniques. When he was about to go see his parents, a shout came from his spirit sea. Following that, he used his soul power to investigate and found a purple-robed man standing under an ancient tree outside Night Moon Villa. Night Sorrow carried the blood shield and evil-slaying spear out of Night Moon Villa and arrived under the ancient tree. This purple-robed man was King Yawu. He had already arrived at Ethereal Imperial City. He deliberately hid his cultivation so that no one would notice. King Yawu sized up Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow also looked at King Yawu. Although King Yawu's aura was calm, Night Sorrow could feel that he was an expert. This was because Pu Luo and the others in Night Moon Villa did not notice him. Not bad. Heroic spirit is flourishing. Don't think too much. They won't notice me. I just want to see you and find a place to drink tea. Do you dare to come? King Yawu looked at Night Sorrow and said. There's nothing to be afraid of. There's still time. Junior will be the host and treat Senior to some tea. Night Sorrow finished speaking and brought King Yawu to Twilight Tea House. When they arrived at Twilight Tea House, Night Sorrow brought King Yawu into Admiring Moon Pavilion. He ordered a pot of tea and brewed it himself. Then, he sat opposite King Yawu. Night Sorrow did not ask anything. He knew that since the purple-robed man came to find him, he must have something to say. He was not in a hurry to ask. Night Sorrow did not ask, so King Yawu just drank his tea. He was not in a hurry. This also showed Night Sorrow's temperament. After a pot of tea, Night Sorrow brewed another pot. The two sat quietly. When the moon was about to set, Night Sorrow stood up. Senior, if you want to drink tea, you can find Night Sorrow at any time. You don't have anything to ask? King Yawu looked at Night Sorrow and asked. No. If you want to find Night Sorrow, you will tell me. If you don't want to tell me, then it's useless for me to ask Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow explained why he did not want to ask. You see it clearly. But even if you don't ask, I have to tell you. I am Yen Wushuang's sworn brother. King Yawu looked at Night Sorrow and said. My master's sworn brother? How can you prove it? Night Sorrow's eyes were full of shock, but he still wanted to confirm it. There were many people who wanted Yen Wushuang's inheritance. Many people also knew that the human sovereign's seal was in Night Sorrow's hands. He had to be careful. Chapter 1781. If King Yawu says he's my martial uncle, I'll believe him. But the problem is. Night Sorrow did not continue. His meaning was obvious. How could King Yawu prove that he was King Yawu? All right. You're the only one who questioned my identity in the past few eras. But it's good to be cautious. Is this divine capital seal okay? It doesn't seem to work. You can say it's fake. King Yawu took out a big seal. He looked at Night Sorrow and put it away because he could not prove that the seal was real. Night Sorrow looked at King Yawu. He believed him now because no one could joke about King Yawu's name. It's simple. Isn't Fan Tian with you? Pu Luo and the others are there too. Fan Tian cannot believe it, but Pu Luo can, right? King Yawu stood up and walked out of the Twilight Tea House. Night Sorrow did not pay the bill. He followed King Yawu and left the Twilight Tea House. King Yawu waved his sleeves and began to fly with Night Sorrow. The Twilight Tea House was still some distance away from the Night Moon Villa, but King Yawu arrived in a few flashes. Fan Tian, Pu Luo, come out. Standing at the entrance of the Night Moon Villa, King Yawu shouted toward the Night Moon Villa. Following King Yawu's shout, Pu Luo, Fan Tian, and the great demon king who were originally meditating all came out. Master, you're here? Fan Tian bowed. Pu Luo greets King Yawu. Pu Luo also cupped his hands. He was the human clan's law enforcement elder, but he had not gone through the emperor's tribulation. King Yawu was a top expert for several eras. He was the human clan's almighty. The great demon king and Lin Piaomiao also greeted him. Night Sorrow, my identity as King Yawu is confirmed, right? Can we continue? King Yawu looked at Night Sorrow. Sorry. Senior, please come in, Night Sorrow said embarrassedly. King Yawu walked into the villa. Seeing that someone was following him, he turned around and said, "Go and do your work. I need to talk to Night Sorrow." After hearing King Yawu's words, no one else followed. Night Sorrow brought King Yawu to the hall and invited him to sit down while he stood to the side. King Yawu looked at Night Sorrow and asked, "Can you believe what I say now?" "Senior, you are a pillar of the human race." "I believe whatever you say, Night Sorrow." Night Sorrow nodded. King Yawu looked at Night Sorrow and asked, "Then I will start with your master Wushuang. He is my sworn brother. He trained and fought with me, so I can be considered your uncle. Do you agree?" "Yes." Night Sorrow greets uncle. Night Sorrow bowed to King Yawu. King Yawu looked at Night Sorrow and said, "Very good. Your master didn't teach you for 2 days, so I have the responsibility to teach you. After this wedding, your original body will come to Divine Capital to train with me." Yi Shang understands. "Thank you for your concern, Uncle Master." Yi Shang bowed to King Yawu again. King Yawu looked at Night Sorrow and said, "When you see your master, he won't have the ability to teach you. In fact, you have only received the inheritance, but you can learn from his inheritance because it is the Sword Dao. However, uncle cultivates the Spear Dao. But senior brother Fan Tian cultivates the Sword Dao." Night Sorrow said, puzzled. King Yawu said, "This is quite strange. Fan Tian is an orphan adopted by uncle. Who knew that he was born with a fondness for swords? Uncle couldn't force him to cultivate the Spear Dao, so I taught him part of your master's Sword Dao. However, it was only the Sword Dao that your master comprehended in the early stages. I don't know what he comprehended in the later stages. As for you, when you met your master, he didn't have a choice." King Yawu said. Night Sorrow understands. Night Sorrow understood why Fan Tian wanted to exchange cultivation experiences with him. Your master is quite lucky to be able to take an Emerit Emperor as his disciple. That's good. There are many people in the world who don't have his luck. King Yawu said. After that, King Yawu stayed at Night Moon Villa. After they quieted down, Night Sorrow told Lin Piaomiao about the situation. "This is a good thing. Senior King Yawu's cultivation experience is accumulated. With him guiding you, you won't go astray," Lin Piaomiao said. Night Sorrow took the Blood Qilan Evil Slaying Spear and began to cultivate his Spear Dao. He picked up his habit of practicing his Spear Dao when he had nothing to do. At this time, Night Sorrow's Blood Qilan Evil Slaying Spear was surrounded by his level 4 domain. The tip of the spear was emitting purple light, and the energy burst out. It was the Nihility Origin Kill. "When did you cultivate the primeval Spear Dao?" King Yawu came to the martial arts arena and asked Night Sorrow, who was practicing his Spear Dao. "Uncle, when I left Tianhuang City, I promised to fight for the 100 Races Alliance's first vanguard. The Grand Elder gave me a Spear Dao." Night Sorrow said. "This is your opportunity. The Grand Elder's Coiling Dragon Primeval Spear Dao is the most important. However, without talent, you won't be able to build this foundation. Now, your Spear Dao has taken shape." King Yawu sat down beside the martial arts arena. Night Sorrow clasped his hands, hugged his spear, and bowed before King Yawu. He then continued to practice his Spear Dao. After cultivating for an hour, Night Sorrow rested and drank tea. King Yawu looked at Night Sorrow and asked, "Do you know what the earliest weapons of the human race were? What weapons were used the most?" Night Sorrow shook his head. He didn't know much about the history of the human race. Spear. Because it was easy to make. The cost was also low. It was simple to make a spearhead and tie it to a stick. At that time, there was no spear dao. You could just whip, hack, chop, stab. You could attack however you wanted. The essence of spear dao at that time was casual. Your spear dao is exquisite, but it lacks a certain aura. King Yawu said. Night Sorrow was stunned. No one had explained this point to him before. Spear, the king of weapons. Cultivating spear dao requires an aura. Before the battle, the aura must suppress the enemy. We have to use force. King Yawu looked at Night Sorrow. A purple gold spear appeared in his right hand, and he swung it. Chapter Z, new chapters. There was no energy infusion, but Night Sorrow couldn't describe this spear. This spear seemed to be the ruler of heaven and earth, piercing through the sky. Can you understand this? King Yawu asked Night Sorrow after he put away his spear. I need some time to digest this aura. But where does this aura come from? Night Sorrow understood the essence of King Yawu's spear, but he didn't understand. Grand Elder's spear dao focuses on the form and intention. It uses the intent to drive the will of heaven and earth and the momentum of heaven and earth. Uncle Master's spear dao focuses on the essence, energy, and spirit. You use your spirit to control the spear. The spear is an extension of your essence, energy, and spirit. Don't worry, take it slow. Your foundation in spear dao, realm, and body are all very good. You were born to practice the spear. King Yawu looked at Night Sorrow with praise in his eyes. Chapter 1782. After you and Night Sorrow get married, you have to call him Martial Uncle, King Yawu said to Lin Piaomiao. Greetings, Martial Uncle. Lin Piaomiao got up and poured a cup of tea for King Yawu. You, Great Demon King, and Fan Tian are the most outstanding cultivators in this era. The fact that you can pass the 6 tribulations of the heavenly Tao is proof. The Emperor Tribulation is divided into 9 tribulations of the heavenly Tao. The most dangerous ones are the 7 and 9 tribulations of the heavenly Tao, so you have to be careful, King Yawu said to Lin Piaomiao. Lin Piaomiao cupped her hands to express her gratitude. After thinking for a while, Night Sorrow took out Yen Wushuang's Sword Dao Inheritance Book. Martial Uncle, this is the book that Master left for me. Since it's not suitable for me, Martial Uncle can give it to senior brother Fan Tian. This way, Master's Sword Dao can be carried forward. Remember, your Master's Sword Dao inheritance can't be passed on to others. No one can. When you've cultivated the Spear Dao, you can refer to the Sword Dao. If there's anything suitable or lacking in your senior brother Fan Tian, just tell him, King Yawu said to Night Sorrow. Then, Martial Uncle, don't you need to refer to it? Didn't you say that Master has already researched the Forbidden Sword Dao? That should be at a very high level, right? Night Sorrow asked King Yawu. He wasn't a selfish person. King Yawu was a human almighty. If he could help King Yawu, he wouldn't mind. Hee, if your master can research the Forbidden Sword Dao and touch the Heavenly Dao's taboo, why can't Martial Uncle do the same? King Yawu's robe trembled. An invisible aura spread out and then disappeared in a flash. King Yawu left and went to the courtyard that Night Sorrow had arranged for him to rest. Night Sorrow continued to practice his spear. This time was different from the past. Night Sorrow stood for a while before he started to practice his spear. He was looking for the kind of essence, qi, and spirit that King Yawu had mentioned. Pu Luo, Great Demon King, Fan Tian, Roe Si, and Yu Zhu ran to the side of the martial arts arena and chatted with Lin Piaomiao. However, no one mentioned King Yawu. The matter of King Yawu was not something that anyone could discuss, not even the elders of the Council of Elders. After training his spear arts, Night Sorrow went to the side of the martial arts practice grounds and cupped his fists towards Fan Tian. Night Sorrow greets senior brother. Master told you? Fentian looked at Night Sorrow and asked. Uncle Master has already said so. However, I can't exchange my cultivation experiences with senior brother for the time being because my spear Dao has yet to take shape. I won't touch the sword manual left behind by Master. Uncle Master said that the sword manual cannot be given to others, Night Sorrow said. Then what's the hurry? There are plenty of days ahead. A smile appeared on Fentian's originally cold face. He did not have any friends, nor did he have any seniors or juniors. Now that he had a junior brother, he was naturally happy. What's going on? Reese was confused. Night Sorrow's master, unparalleled sword sovereign senior and King Nyo-Woo are sworn brothers. Therefore, Night Sorrow has to call King Nyo-Woo senior martial uncle, Lin Piamyo said. Night Sorrow had already explained the situation to her. You piece of trash. Now you have a strong backer. Great Demon King looked at Night Sorrow with disdain. I'm just a piece of trash. When have I ever been a piece of trash? Of course, you are an emperor. You have passed the 6 tribulations of the heavenly Tao. You have the right to say so. Looking at Great Demon King, Night Sorrow felt a little helpless. Night Sorrow thought that he was pretty good. He had always been able to fight above his level. Original version X release, C. Night Sorrow, your Uncle Master is the City Lord of the Divine Capital. He didn't say anything about us smashing the bricks, right? We are just giving him trouble. Yu Zhu looked at the direction of King Nyo-Woo's residence and said. No, Uncle Master didn't mention this. Don't think too much about it. We have a clear conscience. We just want to give all the cultivators a warning and establish a moral atmosphere. There's nothing wrong with that. Night Sorrow said. That's right. Yu Zhu, what are you worried about? Didn't this guy do it with us? Reese pointed at Fentian. I'm not afraid. I just don't want King Nyo-Woo to worry about this. Yu Zhu said. Master doesn't care about these things at all. In fact, there are 2 elders in charge of the divine capital. One is Elder Lu Qi, and the other is Elder Yen Qi. One is in charge of the law, and the other is in charge of development. Unless there is a war or an invasion, Master doesn't care about it. Fentian said. So you dare to mess around? Pu Luo glanced at Fentian. Fentian did not say anything. He felt that this was not a matter of messing around. He just felt that it should be done. The wedding was held as scheduled. The ceremony was simple. It was to worship the heavens and earth, and then the couple served tea to the elders. Night Sorrow's 2 masters, the Qing Emperor and Yu Yangyu, sat in the seats of honor. King Nyo-Woo, who represented Night Sorrow's other master, sat in the seats of honor. As usual, Night Sorrow served tea to Father Gu first. Night Sorrow, go and serve tea to your master, Uncle Master, and parents first. I'm not in a hurry. Father Gu said to Night Sorrow. Without Father, there would be no Night Sorrow. He might have been taken away by some wild beast. Father, please have some tea. Night Sorrow insisted on holding the teacup with both hands. Lin Piaomiao also stood beside Night Sorrow. Daddy Gu shook his head and didn't insist. He drank the tea and took out a wooden horse and a cradle from his storage ring. Foster father doesn't have any gifts for you. This cradle was made by foster father. It's for your future child. I won't keep this wooden horse. Take it because it's the best memory of your childhood. Looking at the wooden horse, Night Sorrow choked up. It was the deepest memory of his childhood. Night Sorrow touched the wooden horse, which still had black marks from the fire. Tears welled up in his eyes. Father, do you know what's the deepest, most painful, and most heartwarming scene in my memory? It's the scene when you were seriously injured and lost your arm. You held the wooden horse with one hand. At that time, I swore that I would become strong and never let you or the people around you get hurt again. Night Sorrow, you did it. No one did it better than you. I'm proud of you. Bamboo Garden Village is proud of you. The 9 Regions world is proud of you. Father Gu stood up and patted Knight Soro's shoulder. The wooden horse had a deep story. Knight Soro's 2 senior sisters and Sikong Chuyu all knew about it. Therefore, they understood that Knight Soro was very excited. What's going on? Asked the great demon king, who was watching from the side. Knight Soro didn't grow up in the family. Because of the war, he was lost in the home of a hunter. That hunter was Father Gu. It was Father Gu who raised him, said Song Ning, who was beside them. What about his cultivation when he was young? No family funding? Yu Zhu turned to Song Ning and asked. No. He was just a small hunter. Later, he left the village and entered the first sect. That was his first master. Song Ning lifted his chin in Yu Yangyu's direction. That's so inspiring. He rose up from the ordinary. It's rare to have such achievements in such a short time, Pu Luo said emotionally. At this time, Knight Soro and Lin Piaomiao went to King Yowu to offer tea. Chapter 1783. Your master and I got this sword many years ago when we were training. There were originally 2 swords. They weren't the product of this reincarnation. At that time, Martial Uncle didn't want it. Your master said that it might be useful one day, so we each took one. Sure enough, it's useful today. Piaomiao, Martial Uncle will give it to you on behalf of Knight Soro's master. King Yowu took out a sheathed longsword that shone with a blue light and handed it to Lin Piaomiao. Thank you, master. Thank you, Martial Uncle. Lin Piaomiao held the longsword with both hands and raised it in the air. Then, she bowed slightly to King Yowu. Knight Soro, it's your turn. This is Martial Uncle's Sky Tyrannical Spear Manual. If I want to rule the heavens, I'll start with the spear. I hope you can go further and further on the Tao of the spear. King Yowu took out a spear manual. Martial Uncle, this isn't appropriate. My cultivation is too low. If someone with bad intentions tries to harm me, I won't be able to protect myself. Knight Soro said. Martial Uncle has placed a restriction on the Sky Tyrannical Spear Manual. If someone else gets it, why don't they take a look? The spear intent will directly pierce through their spirit sea. If they can't do that, the manual will self-destruct. Your master's inheritance will also be the same. So, this is one of the reasons why Martial Uncle told you not to let others get it. King Yowu said to Knight Soro. Thank you, Martial Uncle. Knight Soro kept the manual and bowed to King Yowu. Martial Uncle wishes you all a long life and many grandchildren. King Yowu smiled and sat down. Then, it was time for the banquet. Knight Soro, Lin Piaomiao, Pu Luo, Yu Zhu, Great Demon Lord, and Fan Tian sat at the same table. Knight Soro, Piaomiao Battle Emperor is a flower that no one in the celestial realm dares to pick. You're really capable to have her. Roy Si raised his wine glass to Knight Soro. That's still a waving hand, Yu Zhu said with a smile. I don't want to listen to your nonsense. Where's the gift? Knight Soro said as he knocked on the table. Shameless. However, the gift has nothing to do with you. It has already been given to Floating Mist. Haha. Yu Zhu laughed. Yes, I have. Lin Piaomiao nodded with a smile. The few of them had a deep friendship, so they drank and chatted happily. After the banquet ended, King Yowu called for Knight Soro and Fan Tian to go to the pavilion where he lived. This is the teleportation crystal of God's capital's Emperor-class teleportation array. Where is your teleportation crystal? King Yowu took out a teleportation crystal and handed it to Knight Soro. Thank you, Uncle. After Knight Soro received the teleportation crystal, he handed King Yowu another teleportation crystal. This teleportation crystal of yours contains a lot of energy. It's a top-notch Emperor-grade teleportation crystal. There should be many other main bodies and clones, but you have to be careful. The primal chaos realm is your root. You can't let anyone invade it. Only when you have no worries can you move forward bravely, King Yawu reminded Night Sorrow. King Yawu called Fan Tian over to ask him to take care of Night Sorrow. King Yawu left, but he told Night Sorrow that after spending some time with his family and wife, he would go to Yawu Mountain to cultivate. Lin Piao could also bring him along. If his family wanted to go, they could also bring him along. After sending King Yawu off, Night Sorrow and Fan Tian returned to the hall. Night Sorrow, do you dare to get drunk today? Ruisi shouted when he saw Night Sorrow and Fan Tian return. You're not going to let them consummate their marriage. Pu Luo said with a smile. Night Sorrow, are you in a hurry? Ruisi looked at Night Sorrow and asked. What are you asking? Night Sorrow shook his head helplessly. This will make her remember all of us. This will create the deepest memories. Come on. Let's drink. The Great Demon King said with a smile. You guys are too inhumane. All right. I'll go crazy with you guys today. Night Sorrow smiled and nodded at Lin Piao. Night Sorrow was knocked out. The main reason was that the Great Demon King and Pu Luo's alcohol tolerance was too fierce. No one was shameless, so Night Sorrow couldn't hold up against them. When Night Sorrow woke up, the sun was already high up in the sky. A bunch of animals. Bad things. After getting up, Night Sorrow slapped his forehead. Hee, they're not that good. They're probably asleep too. Lin Piao entered the room. This was their bridal chamber. Sister Xian, martial uncle said that I can go to Yawu Mountain to cultivate. I can bring you along. Night Sorrow said. All right. It's the same where we cultivate. We can cultivate faster if we go there to receive martial uncle's guidance. Lin Piao was willing to see Night Sorrow cultivate with King Yawu. Safety here isn't a problem. We're married, so there's no need to be afraid of bloodshed. We'll leave after we finish off Ling Daoxiu and Ling Wuji. Night Sorrow tidied himself up and began to wash up. Then let's take down Celestial Sect completely. The forces in the Chaos Realm can also develop as they wish. As for safety, no one dares to provoke Misty Dynasty yet. Lin Piao said. After washing up, Night Sorrow looked at Lin Piao and hugged her. These bastards. They're really cheating. They ruined our wedding night. Lin Piao's face blushed. After greeting their parents and elders, Night Sorrow and Lin Piao went to the waterside pavilion. Lin Piao began to mobilize her forces to attack Celestial Sect directly. She had communicated with Night Sorrow to force Ling Daoxiu and Ling Wuji to attack Xingyue City. That way, they could eliminate the two of them and prevent any future troubles. At this moment, Pu Luo and the others sat down. Looking at them, Night Sorrow's eyes were murderous. Are you going to eat people? The Great Demon King sat down and said. Yes. I'll definitely eat them. I've experienced it before. I'm not afraid of bad things, but I'm afraid of bad people. Night Sorrow said. You care so much. Have you never been together before? Reese looked at Night Sorrow and Lin Piao in surprise. Nonsense. Do you think everyone is as dirty as you? Lin Piao spoke before Night Sorrow could speak. I've sinned. I didn't think about this. Don't worry. No one will torture you tonight. Yu Zhu smiled. Night Sorrow, I'm really envious of you. Even my master didn't care about me and asked me to take care of you. I wonder who will take care of me. Fan Tian said. Do you need someone to take care of you? Pu Luo said. At this moment, Li Tianba from the Black Fiend Valley in the world of reincarnation arrived. City Lord, the war has begun. The enemy is attacking Xingyue City. It's Ling Tian and Celestial Sect. Are there any monarchs? Night Sorrow stood up and asked. Yes. The two monarchs of Misty Dynasty have opponents. They also have some emperors. We're at a disadvantage now. Li Tianba was a little anxious. Night Sorrow flashed onto the teleportation array. He knew it was time to solve the problem with Celestial Sect. If Celestial Sect wasn't dealt with, they would always be a threat to the primal chaos realm. Version B first release Lin Piao Miao and the others followed. They took the teleportation array and arrived at Xingyue City. At this moment, Xingyue City was filled with battles. However, it was a stalemate. Luo Yuandao and Song Ning's doppelgangers were carrying Ling Daoxiu and Ling Tianji. The Golden Body Holy Spirit was guarding the teleportation array. The two emperors couldn't attack. Ice Dragon Xilia transformed into his original form. His dragon tail flew around as he controlled the Celestial Sect's troops to prevent the Primal Chaos Realm's people from being heavily injured. Chapter 1784. Ling Daoxiu and Ling Tianji became anxious when they saw the light of the teleportation formation. They madly attacked Luo Yuandao and Song Ning's doppelgangers. They were fighting with their doppelgangers because they were staking everything. Luo Yuandao and Song Ning's clones were fighting alone and were currently at a disadvantage. However, they weren't worried because they knew that as long as they could stabilize the situation, reinforcements would arrive soon. Ling Tian roared crazily and shouted for people to break the teleportation formation because this was their only chance to rise again. Now, he had nothing. The Celestial Sect in the world of reincarnation was destroyed, and his son was killed. Only by killing his way back to the world of reincarnation could he be valued by Ling Daoxiu and Ling Tianji and start anew. However, at this moment, a huge golden energy hand appeared in the sky and whizzed down. Ling Tian wanted to dodge, but his body was restrained. He wanted to call for help, but his voice couldn't be transmitted out. A huge palm print appeared where Ling Tian was standing and slammed deep into the ground. Ling Tian's corpse couldn't even be seen. He was directly annihilated. Night Sorrow then slammed his palm between Ling Daoxiu and Song Ning. Ling Daoxiu and Ling Tianji both retreated. Looking at Lin Piao Miao and the others behind Night Sorrow, they knew that they had lost and had no chance of winning. Night Sorrow, you trash. If you don't rely on women, what are you? Ling Daoxiu scolded. At this moment, he was flustered and exasperated. Not only had this operation failed, but he had also exposed himself. I'm trash. Today, I'll let you see who's the trash. Night Sorrow raised his right hand and grabbed the reincarnation spear on his back, holding it in his hand. Because they were going to get married, and because the matter between a man and a woman could only be done by the original body, the one in front of people was Night Sorrow's original body. What, you still dare to fight with me? Ling Daoxiu sneered. You know that I dare, so don't try to provoke me. 6-star Emperor Realm, I want to try and see if you have the qualifications to call me trash. Night Sorrow walked forward. At this moment, Night Sorrow's body was a spear because his spirit had spear intent. Junior brother. Fen Tian was a little worried, because the gap between the two of them was huge. There was a difference of 3 levels, and there was a gap between the early and middle stages of the Emperor Realm. Fen Tian, there's no need to rush. Comparing an outstanding cultivator to a trash, you can't use rank to measure them. The Great Demon King said. He knew that Night Sorrow was going to challenge himself. Seeing that Night Sorrow had left his original position and left the area where Lin Piao Miao and the others were, Ling Daoxiu leaped up and unleashed his domain, charging towards Night Sorrow. He knew that if he could capture Night Sorrow, there was still room for negotiation. Otherwise, he would die. Level 5 Domain. Ling Daoxiu's level 5 domain was mainly of the spatial attribute. Night Sorrow brandished his reincarnation spear, and his level 4 domain burst forth. The domain, which was filled with purplish-black smoke and mixed with gray energy, rushed out in all directions. After the perfect fusion of the level 4 domain, Night Sorrow's domain would not clash even if he did not use the power of virtue. After all, the fusion was complete. As Night Sorrow's domain burst forth, Ling Daoxiu's expanding domain was blocked. The energy that rushed over was directly annihilated into nothingness, destroyed by the destructive energy. After blocking Ling Daoshu's domain, Night Sorrow's domain was still expanding, causing Ling Daoshu's domain to shrink back. A level 4 domain could suppress a level 5 domain. This was something that the Great Demon King and the others did not expect. There were level 4 domains that could withstand a level 5 domain. Due to the difference in attributes, there was a possibility that level 4 domains could withstand a level 5 domain. However, it was very difficult to suppress a level 5 domain, but Night Sorrow did it. Ling Daoshu's domain collided with Night Sorrow's domain. Then, he slashed at Night Sorrow with his sword. The energy on Night Sorrow's right arm surged, and his weapon, the reincarnation spear, moved. He used the basic spear art's direct thrust. Following the sound of the explosion, Night Sorrow retreated a dozen steps. After looking at the shattered bluestone in front of him, he realized that the difference in level had a huge impact on his combat power. His body's energy was supported by his Jin Qi, but he was still pushed back. After the slash, Ling Daoshu, who was also pushed back, looked calm. However, he was extremely shocked. His cultivation was 3 levels higher than Night Sorrow's, but he did not have the slightest advantage even with the support of a level 5 domain. This is a fair fight. Isn't the difference between an exceptional person and a piece of trash very obvious? If Night Sorrow was an emperor, he would be at a disadvantage in one move, the Great Demon King said with his arms crossed. Some fight, some watch. In the past, I only watched Night Sorrow smash bricks. I have never seen him kill an enemy, Yu Zhu said. Why are you lying through your teeth? Didn't you see the video of Night Sorrow killing the Demon Wing Clan's emperor? Pu Luo glanced at Yu Zhu. How can watching a video and watching a real battle be the same? Yu Zhu stared back at Pu Luo. Can you guys be quiet for a while? Fan Tian held his sword hilt with his right hand and watched the battle nervously. At this moment, Night Sorrow and Ling Daoshu started to fight for real. The two of them kept clashing, but Night Sorrow was at a disadvantage. This was because Ling Daoshu did not fight him head-on, but used his energy to attack. His cultivation was low, and his energy was much weaker than his opponent. The difference was obvious. When his energy was weak, his attack would be weakened after entering the opponent's domain, and it would not be much of a threat. On the other hand, Ling Daoshu was a late-stage emperor. His cultivation was high, and his energy cultivation was deep. When his sword Qi entered Night Sorrow's domain, even if it was weakened and annihilated, it still had some lethality. This won't do. That guy bullies others with his high cultivation base and profound cultivation base. Reese's face was full of anger. This is just the beginning, Lin Piaomiao said. When Lin Piaomiao was speaking, Night Sorrow's domain trembled. Then, an intense golden light appeared, and the domain expanded. Night Sorrow used the void step and rushed toward Ling Daoshu. At the same time, Night Sorrow also used a new spear art. The chaotic spear art was based on the true dragon destruction art. Watch this for free for all time. Night Sorrow did not want to fight a protracted battle. His cultivation was much lower than his opponent's, and a protracted battle was disadvantageous for him. Night Sorrow's reincarnation spear's 4th rank merit domain instantly tore Ling Daoshu's domain apart. The reincarnation spear's black halo rippled in all directions and enveloped Ling Daoshu. The reincarnation spear continued to pierce toward Ling Daoshu. At this moment, a black shadow appeared behind Ling Daoshu. After the black shadow solidified, it stabbed toward Night Sorrow's reincarnation spear. Doppelganger, this was Ling Daoshu's battle doppelganger. Are you the only one with a doppelganger? Night Sorrow's body shook, and his doppelganger appeared with the blood Qilin evil slaying spear. After the doppelganger's domain burst forth, he activated the virtuous immortal body and used the black dragon true dragon art to attack Ling Daoshu's original body. Night Sorrow wanted to destroy Ling Daoshu's original body first. What are these things? Ruisi did not understand. Ling Daoshu is about to die. Ruisi, don't talk. Pu Luo glared at Ruisi. Chapter 1785. With a loud explosion, Ling Daoshu's doppelganger was sent flying. Ling Daoshu didn't release his doppelganger in the beginning because he wanted to seize the opportunity to take down Night Sorrow. Now that he was in a hurry, he didn't release all of his energy. In addition, his doppelganger's strength was 70% of his original body's, so there was a gap between him and Night Sorrow. After sending Ling Daoshu's doppelganger flying, Night Sorrow's original body and doppelganger performed the soul destruction slash. For soul destruction slash crescent blades were released, 2 of them attacking Ling Daoshu's original body and 2 of them attacking his doppelganger. After launching the soul attack, Yishang wielded his reincarnation spear and used the Emperor reincarnation slash. He had just used the destructive True Dragon incantation. Now that he used a Void Elemental ultimate skill, it would be even harder for Ling Daoshu to defend himself. At this moment, Ling Daoshu's brain was constantly emitting light. He used the Soul's secret technique to block Night Sorrow's soul attack, but his body couldn't move. Not only was his soul affected by Night Sorrow's secret technique, but the spacetime around his body was also affected, and he was also under the suppression of Night Sorrow's virtue domain. With a low roar, Ling Daoshu waved his sword to block Night Sorrow's doppelganger's blood-Kirin evil-slaying spear, but his long sword was shaken up. The difference in strength between Night Sorrow's original body and his doppelganger wasn't big. The doppelganger's strength was 90% of the original body's. This was the Ice Phoenix race's doppelganger secret technique, and it was a top-notch one. At this moment, Night Sorrow's original body's attack also arrived. After performing the Great Emperor reincarnation slash, Night Sorrow's reincarnation spear performed the Void Extreme Kill. Seeing Night Sorrow's reincarnation spear getting closer and closer, Ling Daoshu's right hand that was holding the sword exerted force and slashed down. He wanted to block Night Sorrow's killing move before his doppelganger came to support him. The moment Ling Daoshu's long sword clashed with Night Sorrow's reincarnation spear, Night Sorrow's reincarnation spear released a strong vibration and directly shook Ling Daoshu's longsword away. Then pierced Ling Daoshu's chest armor. Break! Night Sorrow roared in a low voice. The tip of the reincarnation spear exploded with an intense purple halo. Following the explosion of the purple halo, Ling Daoshu's chest armor was pierced through. The reincarnation spear pierced through Ling Daoshu's chest. At this time, Night Sorrow's doppelganger's second attack was organized. He didn't stop Ling Daoshu's doppelganger from attacking his main body's back. Instead, he directly stabbed his spear towards Ling Daoshu's neck. The doppelganger's spear prevented Ling Daoshu's true body from retreating, and Night Sorrow's true body's reincarnation spear directly flicked upwards. Chi-La! Ling Daoshu's body was torn apart by Night Sorrow's reincarnation spear. From his chest to his head, he was directly cut into 2 halves. You should die too. After his main body was cut, Ling Daoshu's doppelganger's sword also arrived at the back of Night Sorrow's main body. Night Sorrow didn't have enough time to block or dodge because Ling Daoshu's doppelganger's domain was affecting him. However, Night Sorrow didn't think of dodging. He turned around, and his left hand flashed with a golden radiance. His 5 fingers formed a claw and stretched out, directly grabbing the middle of Ling Daoshu's longsword. Break for me. Ling Daoshu's right hand rotated the longsword, wanting to break Night Sorrow's left hand. In your dreams. Night Sorrow's body's energy poured into his left hand, tightly grabbing onto Ling Daoshu's longsword. Next, the reincarnation spear in his right hand stabbed towards Ling Daoshu's doppelganger's dantian. You should die. At this time, Ling Tianji charged towards Night Sorrow's doppelganger. Night Sorrow's doppelganger was currently vibrating his domain, completely annihilating the soul of Ling Daoshu's main body. Ling Tianji felt that this was an opportunity for him to seize Night Sorrow and control Night Sorrow. It's you who should die. Just as Lin Piaomiao was about to make a move, Fan Tian made his move and blocked Ling Tianji. At this time, Night Sorrow's main body held onto Ling Daoshu's doppelganger's longsword with his left hand, while the reincarnation spear in his right hand stabbed into Ling Daoshu's doppelganger's armor. Because it was a close-range attack without any combat techniques, Night Sorrow's reincarnation spear couldn't pierce through the defense of Ling Daoshu's armor. At this time, Night Sorrow pulled Ling Daoshu's doppelganger's long sword with his left hand, while his right hand slid along the spear's shaft. Then, his elbow fiercely smashed onto Ling Daoshu's doppelganger's face. Along with the sound of bones shattering, the bones in Ling Daoshu's face were smashed. After smashing Ling Daoshu's face, Night Sorrow's right hand shook and threw the reincarnation spear into the spear pouch on his back. Then, he reached out and grabbed Ling Daoshu's left fist that was attacking his head. When Night Sorrow's right hand twisted, Ling Daoshu's left hand let out a very crisp sound. His left arm and hand bones were crushed by Night Sorrow. Too violent. The monarch was hung up and beaten by the monarch. Reese rubbed his chin and said. Night Sorrow's left hand let go of the longsword in Ling Daoshu's right hand, and a shiny golden brick appeared in his hand. His body tilted, and his left hand ruthlessly slapped Ling Daoshu's face from bottom to top. I won't allow anyone to have any ideas about the primal chaos realm. After the slap, Night Sorrow roared at the doctor. Ling Daoshu's face was gone from the slap. At this time, let alone attack, even standing was wobbling. Who's the trash between us? Night Sorrow took a step forward and roared at the wobbling Ling Daoshu. The golden human emperor's seal landed on the back of Ling Daoshu's head again. When Ling Daoshu's body fell forward, Night Sorrow kicked Ling Daoshu's chest and kicked him up again. Then, he leaped up and imbued the human emperor's seal with energy in his left hand. He placed it on top of Ling Daoshu's head, and the energy surged and shattered his spirit sea. When Night Sorrow turned his head to look again, Ling Wuji was already killed by Fentian. After collecting the spoils, Night Sorrow went to where Lin Piaomiao and the others were standing. Yesterday, you said we weren't human. The battle just now proved that you're the real animal. Yu Zhu looked at Night Sorrow and said. Territorial Lord, what should we do with the remaining people? Tang Jianfeng and Lord Shen who went to Night Sorrow. Don't carry out unnecessary killings. Let these people swear to the heavenly Tao that they won't go against Xing Yuehu and the Misty Empire in the future. They won't return to the Celestial Sect's territory. If they don't swear, kill them. Night Sorrow thought for a moment and said. He didn't want to carry out unnecessary killings, but for the safety of Xing Yuehu and the Misty Empire's territory, swearing to the heavenly Tao was the only way. After the matter was settled, Night Sorrow followed Lin Piaomiao and the others back to the Night Moon Villa through the teleportation array. Night Sorrow went to take a bath while Pu Luo and the others sat and chatted. Did you see that? This is an emperor. Killing emperors without any harm. Ruiz said with some emotion. Night Sorrow is going to fight for the #1 vanguard position in the 100 Race Alliance. Those who are participating in this competition are the strongest emperors from various races. They aren't something that trash like Ling Daoshu can compare to. If Night Sorrow improves in these 3 years and enters the emperor realm, then there won't be any problems. Pu Luo said. Piaomiao, why aren't you saying anything? Yu Zhu looked at Lin Piaomiao and asked. Night Sorrow's battle was filled with iron and blood. It's obvious that he has experienced many such battles. It's not easy. Lin Piaomiao said softly. Chapter 1786. I'm not depressed. I'm just a little sad. Night Sorrow's journey to where he is now is not easy, Lin Piaomiao said. I have to admit that it's indeed not easy. However, he walked such a difficult path and trained his true abilities. No one can do this. Which emperor can kill a peak imperial emperor? There's no precedent, right? Even the sages of the human race couldn't do it, Pu Luo said. The few of them nodded. They all agreed on this point. At this moment, Night Sorrow, who had changed into a new robe, came to the hall. He had energy to protect his body, so his robe wouldn't get dirty. He just needed to wash it off. What are you guys talking about? Night Sorrow asked with a smile after sitting down. We're just chatting. Roy C said he wants to drink with you again tonight, Yu Zhu said with a smile. No one is playing with you. You can drink by yourself. Night Sorrow looked at Roy C. with disdain. Was it easy for him? He drank too much yesterday, and now he had to fight again. Am I that kind of person? Roy C. was stunned for a moment, then explained. I know you're not that kind of person. Night Sorrow smiled. Now that Celestial Sect only has Celestial Sect left, he probably won't dare to come out. He'll die if he does, the Great Demon King said. I still have an enemy. The Great Elder of Ethereal Dynasty, UNG, ran to the small world. If we don't get rid of him, he'll come out and threaten the weak of the Chaos Realm. It'll be troublesome, Night Sorrow said after thinking for a moment. Night Sorrow, your idea is to get rid of all evil. However, some people have suffered losses and don't dare to take revenge. They have their own considerations. They won't touch things that they can't touch, Pu Luo said. Night Sorrow and the others were chatting. However, the army of Ethereal Dynasty and the people of Chaos Realm had started to move. They started to clean up Celestial Sect's territory. Lin Piaomiao didn't care about the allocation of resources, and neither did Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow just wanted to find space for the various forces in the Chaos Realm to develop and connect with the Celestial Realm. The key to the rise of a realm was the height of its civilization. If it was connected to the Celestial Realm, then the cultivation civilization would improve. Not only the cultivation civilization, but also the alchemy civilization and the refining civilization. The cultivators would also have more opportunities and opportunities. Of course, opportunities and opportunities coexisted with risks. In order not to disturb Night Sorrow and Misty, the sky darkened slightly. Pu Luo and the others went out for a stroll. They went to the Twilight Tea House to drink tea. Night Sorrow and Lin Piaomiao sat opposite each other. They're more sensible today. They're probably going to drink some tea. Don't expect them to pay for it, Night Sorrow said with a smile. Then let's just settle the bill. We don't have much crystal stones anyway, Lin Piaomiao said with a smile. Okay. When the situation stabilizes, we'll go to the Divine Capital. Martial Uncle's cultivation is high and he's experienced. With his guidance, we should be able to improve quickly, Night Sorrow said. Lin Piaomiao nodded. The people from the Misty Dynasty and Star Moon Lake were cleaning up the Celestial Sect's area. She and Night Sorrow had to see this matter settled. The two of them sat opposite each other. Night Sorrow looked at Lin Piaomiao and suddenly smiled. The two of them were a little embarrassed. Some things have to be done. I'm going to take a bath. Lin Piaomiao stood up and left. Night Sorrow returned to his room and lit the red candles that he had prepared yesterday. He then took out a jar of wine and 2 wine glasses. Night Sorrow then sat aside and pondered. Until now, he didn't know much about Lin Piaomiao. But now, they were married. While Night Sorrow was pondering, Lin Piaomiao appeared in a red dress. It was the wedding dress from yesterday. Sister Xian Air. Night Sorrow stood up. Do I look good in this? Lin Piaomiao sat beside Night Sorrow. Yes, very good. I was tricked by those bastards yesterday. I didn't even look at it seriously, Night Sorrow smiled. As long as you like it. I'll set up a formation. Otherwise, I won't be used to it, Lin Piaomiao said as she tied up her hair. Night Sorrow stood up and helped Lin Piaomiao up. Sister Xian Air, I have an illusion formation board here. Night Sorrow took out the illusion formation board and inserted a Saint Spirit stone into it. He then activated it by injecting energy. One wasn't enough. Night Sorrow set up 2. After setting up the formation board, Night Sorrow turned around but didn't see Lin Piaomiao. But he realized that the red veil on the bed had been lowered. Night Sorrow pulled open the red veil and saw Lin Piaomiao sitting on the bed with a blanket covering her legs. Sister Xian Air, what's up with you? You came up so quickly. Don't you need me to carry you up? Night Sorrow asked with a smile. No need. It's too embarrassing. Lin Piaomiao's face was red. Even though she was the famous Piao Battle Emperor of the Celestial Realm, she was still nervous. This was the wedding night, although it was late by a day. Sister Xian Er, you're making me nervous too. Night Sorrow looked at Lin Piao and sat beside the bed. You're lying. How many wives do you have? 4 kids. You're saying you're nervous now? Lin Piao threw a pillow at Night Sorrow. I'm a little nervous. I'll go turn off the lights. That'll make it better, Night Sorrow said and stood up. No, I was afraid of the dark when I was young. After I became a cultivator, I didn't want to be in the dark. I always felt uncomfortable. Lin Piao pulled Night Sorrow back. Night Sorrow turned around and looked at Lin Piao's beautiful face. He hugged her and said, when we're together in the future, there won't be any more darkness. Lin Piao leaned into Night Sorrow's embrace and nodded her head gently. At this moment, she felt very secure. No matter if there was a storm or not, his chest would be able to shelter her. Hugging Lin Piao's delicate body, Night Sorrow lowered his head and kissed Lin Piao's red lips. Her body trembled slightly. Lin Piao's jade-like arms hugged Night Sorrow's neck and responded to Night Sorrow's kiss. Yishang's heart throbbed as he held Lin Piao's delicate body in his arms. He gently hugged Lin Piao's body and shifted slightly, allowing her to lean more comfortably in his arms. His hand gently caressed Lin Piao's towering chest. Usually, he didn't notice it. But now, Night Sorrow felt that Lin Piao was a woman who was hard to control. Following the movement of Night Sorrow's hand, Lin Piao snorted softly. Her delicate body, which had never been touched by anyone before, was touched by Night Sorrow. She also had a different feeling. Night Sorrow gently pulled open the belt of Lin Piao's red dress. However, he didn't open the dress because there were many small belts and buttons on the wedding dress. It wasn't something that could be undone with a single hand. This dress is really tricky. I can't even wear it casually. Night Sorrow sat up straight and could only use 2 hands to undo it. Some things can't be done casually. We have to do it seriously. Lin Piao also sat up straight and hooked her arms around Night Sorrow's neck. Her pair of beautiful eyes were filled with tears. Chapter 1787. It was a silent night, but a night of intimacy. But before the sun rose, Night Sorrow was shaken awake by Lin Piao. Wake up. Wash up and go practice your spear. Otherwise, those bastards will laugh at you. I'm a newlywed. You're chasing me away because you're afraid of being laughed at? Night Sorrow sat up and said helplessly. I won't do this in the future. But it's easy to be laughed at today. Lin Piao took out a set of clothes and slowly put them on. Night Sorrow kissed Lin Piao gently again and got up. Forever P for a long time free of D, Phi to C, P small I said after starting his spear practice. Night Sorrow calmed down. He wanted to perfect his spear skills. He wanted to learn the essence of the Grand Elder and King Yawu's spear skills. Night Sorrow wanted to infuse his essence, Qi, and spirit into his spear skills and then use the mixed Yuan spear arts. Lin Piao was studying the longsword that King Yawu gave her. The longsword was a sheathed longsword with a blue light. Lin Piao couldn't even tell what material it was made of, but it was unusually sharp. She hadn't refined it yet. The longsword's edge was already emitting sword qi. Normally, it wouldn't be seen when it was in the sheath. But when it was pulled out, it was revealed. I have to say that strength isn't easy to obtain. Night Sorrow, you're really hardworking. You're a newlywed and you're already cultivating. I can't help but admire you, Ruisi said. Someone must be afraid of being laughed at, so they pulled his ear and asked him to cultivate. He's lucky with women, but he has to suffer first. Yuju smiled. Night Sorrow nodded at Yuju. Yuju was right. He really suffered. Yesterday, Lin Piao, who hadn't experienced this before, couldn't bear the ferocity of Night Sorrow's cultivation of the outer chapter of the myriad Tao Tome. She instinctively used her knee, causing the unprepared Night Sorrow to fly off the bed and fall solidly. Night Sorrow, am I a little? Lin Piaomiao looked at Night Sorrow apologetically. Last night, she had indeed made Night Sorrow very uncomfortable. In the end, Night Sorrow had accommodated her and rested. In the morning, she didn't let Night Sorrow have a good rest. Not at all. It's a good thing that you're urging me to cultivate, lest I become lazy. Let's go and have breakfast. Before Lin Piaomiao could finish her sentence, Night Sorrow quickly interrupted her. He didn't want Lin Piaomiao to blame herself and feel awkward. Haha. I can see that Night Sorrow suffered last night. You weren't kicked out of bed, were you? Pu Luo looked at Night Sorrow and asked with a smile. Of course not. Let's go. Night Sorrow shouted as they left the martial arts arena. As they walked, Lin Piaomiao's apologetic voice rang out in Night Sorrow's spirit sea. Night Sorrow turned around and smiled at Datura. Why would he care about this? After breakfast, Night Sorrow greeted Pu Luo, Great Demon King and the rest. He and Datura would return to the 9-domain world to accompany their family for a few days. After the wedding, in order to give Night Sorrow and Lin Piaomiao some space, the Night family members returned to Star Moon City and 9-domain world. Now, Night Sorrow wanted to bring Lin Piaomiao back for a walk. Don't worry. We won't have any problems here. Sister-in-law, tell your subordinates to come to Night Moon Villa to find us if there's anything. Fen Tian said. He was Night Sorrow's senior brother. It was only right for him to call Lin Piaomiao's sister-in-law. They will come to Night Moon Villa if there's anything. Lin Piaomiao said. Night Sorrow and Lin Piaomiao arrived at Star Moon Lake first. However, other than Qing Emperor, there weren't many people in Star Moon Lake. They were all busy fighting for territory. Star Moon City had a gold spirit guarding it. It was very safe. After greeting Qing Emperor, Night Sorrow and Lin Piaomiao returned to the 9-domain world and the city in the sky. Seeing that there was nothing else for him to do, Night Sorrow went to the big lake below the city in the sky. He hadn't done this for a long time. This was what he liked to do in the past, and it was also what he liked to do now. Night Sorrow relaxed. No one disturbed him. The family was harmonious. Lin Piaomiao had also officially integrated into the Yi family. Lying in the wooden boat, Night Sorrow pondered. The 9-domain world was stable now. If others wanted to enter the Chaos world, they could only go through the Emperor-grade teleportation array in the 9-domain world. As for breaking the spatial barrier, he would know immediately. Even if his original body and clone weren't in the 9-domain world, he could stop them. He had already broken the shackles of the past. Why? Because after entering the Emperor realm, Night Sorrow's clone in the Heaven Sealing Palace could use his domain to control the will of heaven and earth. He could move the Heaven Sealing Palace around. The Heaven Sealing Palace was his protective treasure. Of course, it was only limited to the 9-domain world. Now, this clone should be called the 9-domain clone. After staying in the 9-domain world for a month, the Misty Dynasty and the Star Moon Lake had finished organizing and ruling the Celestial Sect. Night Sorrow and Lin Piaomiao were about to leave. They were going to cultivate in the Divine Capital. They couldn't let King Yawu down. As for the cultivation of the family, Night Sorrow didn't have to worry. He originally wanted to find some inheritances. With his abundant resources, it would be easy for him to exchange for some ancient books. However, Lin Piaomiao didn't let him. She brought many ancient books for the family. They were all accumulated in the past. After returning to the Misty Dynasty, Night Sorrow and Datura invited Pu Luo, the Great Demon King, and the others for a drink. Then, they went to the Twilight Tea House for tea. Only then did they plan to leave. Before leaving, Night Sorrow wanted to set up an Emperor-grade teleportation array. This way, he could insert the teleportation crystal in the Divine Capital. When King Yawu also inserted the teleportation crystal in the Divine Capital, they would be able to teleport to each other. Night Sorrow's attainment in array formations was very high. Setting up an Emperor-grade teleportation array was not difficult at all. It didn't take long to set it up. After inserting the teleportation crystal given by King Yawu, Night Sorrow smiled. Uncle Master has already embedded the teleportation crystal in the divine capital. We don't have to go back and forth. We can get there in one go. At that moment, the teleportation crystal in the Emperor-grade teleportation array that Night Sorrow had set up was lit up. Pay attention to this place. Don't let anyone destroy it, Lin Piaomiao said to Tsang Ning, who had come to send them off. Don't worry, my lord. My clone has been guarding this place, Sparrow Dance Army Commander Sparrow Dance, who had been standing to the side, said. Night Sorrow and Lin Piaomiao nodded at Luo Yuandao, Elder Lan, Wu Feng, and Tsang Ning who were sending them off. Then, they entered the teleportation array. The teleportation array, which would have taken a day, only took half an hour to complete. The speed of an interrealm teleportation array was far from comparable to an Emperor-grade teleportation array. The group entered Night Moon Mountain Villa. That's it for today. From tomorrow onwards, we'll resume our previous plan. We'll do whatever we need to do, the Great Demon King said as he lay on the recliner. Senior brother, you provide some information. Ruisi, you organize the list. Also, we can't be too selfish. We'll send some of the resources we obtained to the Tianhuang city. The resources of the City of War are very important. As humans, we have to contribute. However, I respect everyone's opinions, Night Sorrow said as he brewed a pot of tea. Night Sorrow, I support your idea. I can even give up my share, Pu Luo said. The others nodded as well, including the Great Demon King and Fen Tian. Chapter 1788. We'll go tomorrow. Tomorrow, my original body and Misty's original body will go to Yawa Mountain to pay our respects to Uncle Master. After that, we'll stay here to cultivate. Night Sorrow said. That's enough. Don't delay your cultivation. As for the rest, kill them if you need to, and slap them if you need to. Fen Tian said. Something's not right. Fen Tian, the three of you are ranked at the front of this year's God and Demon ranking board. The Great Demon King and Sect Elder Lin have both passed the heavenly tribulation, so why aren't you anxious? Pu Luo looked at Fen Tian with a puzzled expression. He knew that Fen Tian was a murderous embryo with a violent temper. His heart was filled with pride. The Great Demon King and Lin Piaomiao had successfully passed through the 6 tribulations of the heavenly law. There was no reason for him to not have such thoughts. Master said that I'm not allowed to touch it. Let's talk about it later. Fen Tian shook his head and said. Pu Luo laughed and immediately understood that no matter how murderous Fen Tian was, no matter how unruly he was, he had no right to refute the arrangements of his master, King Yawu. After resting for a night, Night Sorrow and Lin Piaomiao arrived at the Yawa Mountain under Fen Tian's lead. If it wasn't for Fen Tian, Lin Piaomiao and Night Sorrow wouldn't have been able to enter. When they reached the pavilion at the foot of the Yawa Mountain, Fen Tian stopped. The Yawa Mountain is a forbidden area. No matter who it is, they can only wait here if they wish to see Master. It's the same for me, your senior brother. Understood. Let's wait for a while. Uncle will see us when he's not busy, Night Sorrow said. Uncle, you're not busy now. Come, let's go up the mountain. King Yawu appeared. Go up the mountain? Fen Tian was startled, because he had not been up the Yawa Mountain for many years. Then, King Yawu led the group to Yawa Mountain. The Yawa Mountain covered a vast area and was tens of thousands of feet tall. There was a small platform at the peak of the mountain and a thatched cottage on one side of the platform. That's where Uncle Master cultivates. You can go and find a place to stay, King Yawu said. Uncle Master, can't we use a spatial magic treasure? Night Sorrow asked. No. You may not understand, so I'll explain it to you today. King Yawu brought Night Sorrow and the others to the wooden table in front of the thatched hut and gestured for them to sit down. After that, King Yawu explained to the three of them. It wasn't just Night Sorrow and Lin Piaomiao who didn't understand, because Fan Tian didn't know either. The human race occupied the celestial realm and had a long dragon of fate. The celestial realm also had a long dragon of fate. The heavenly wasteland city was the sharpest claw of the dragon of fortune of the human clan. It was the place where the human clan clashed with the demon wing clan. The divine capital was located at the head of the Dragon of Providence. Yawa Mountain is the core of the divine capital city. The human race's fate isn't strong enough. The Dragon of Fate hasn't shown its sharp edges yet. When the human race's fate reaches a certain level, the Dragon of Fate will change. Therefore, we can't cultivate here, said King Yawu. M/unspecified currency, forever Hajio o free look, Small B said. I understand. I will go and build a thatched hut in a while. Night Sorrow nodded. There's no hurry. There are some things I haven't said yet. How can you understand? No one should cultivate here. I'm not selfish. I'm guarding the human clan's fate and not letting anyone come close. Your senior brother only stayed here for a few years when he was young. Then, I chased him down the mountain because he couldn't absorb the fate of the human clan for himself, said King Yawu. Uncle, is it appropriate for me to come here? Night Sorrow asked. He didn't want King Yawu's reputation to be tarnished. It's appropriate. You're the Merit Emperor and you control the human emperor's seal. You're a part of the human clan's fate, said King Yawu. Uncle, I'm not suitable. I'll go down the mountain in a while, said Lin Piaomiao. Night Sorrow is the Merit Emperor. Can't he bring someone with him? Besides, I've been using the power of heaven and earth to strengthen the Yawa Mountain. Not everyone can absorb the fate of the human clan. It depends on your luck. If you're lucky, you might be able to get the blessing, but it's impossible to absorb the fate of the human clan, said King Yawu. Hearing King Yawu's words, Lin Piaomiao nodded. The fate of the underworld is unpredictable. In the last reincarnation, the Merit Emperor of the human clan was the human emperor. He controlled the human emperor's seal. But in the cycle of reincarnation, there were times when his fate declined. If he couldn't pass the god-destroying tribulation, he would die. He died, so the human clan's tribulation fell. King Yen shook his head. Then, there were no surviving cultivators in the last reincarnation, asked Night Sorrow. Maybe, maybe not. If you don't pass the god-destroying tribulation, how can you survive the cycle of reincarnation? King Yawu shook his head. Then, what's the level of passing the god-destroying tribulation, asked Night Sorrow. Passing the god-destroying tribulation is the immortal realm for the decay of heaven and earth. I'm in the immortal realm. I'm in the immortal realm, where I become a world and control the power of reincarnation. I'm in the real immortal realm, said King Yawu, looking at Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow, the city lord said you have the potential to be immortal. Lin Piaomiao's eyes were full of shock. When she heard the Grand Elder say that Night Sorrow had the potential to be immortal, she didn't pay much attention to it. But now, after hearing King Yawu's explanation, she completely understood what immortality meant. Currently, it's just potential. Cultivators with immortal potential are rare, but there are still some. But no one has really reached that level. Night Sorrow, you have to work hard. According to your current age and cultivation, you have achieved something, but you still have a long way to go. Why does your master have to go against Mo Tianji? It's because Mo Tianji has the potential to be immortal, said King Yawu. Potential doesn't equal achievement. I will work hard. Night Sorrow bowed to King Yawu. Cultivate for 3 years. After 3 years, you will participate in the competition for the first vanguard of the 100 Race Alliance. Enter the Heaven Wasteland Tower and use the slaughter chi of the Dragon of Fate to cultivate. King Yawu waved his hand and helped Night Sorrow up. I was reckless and attacked the Emperor Tribulation. Does that mean I won't have the chance to participate in the competition for the first commander? Lin Piaomiao looked at King Yawu and asked. We will see when the time comes. According to the rules, Emperor Realm cultivators can participate. This means that cultivators born in this era have not passed the Emperor Tribulation. But you are not old enough to trigger the heavenly tribulation on your own. It's hard to say if you can participate. King Yawu thought for a moment and said. Without further conversation, Night Sorrow and the other two started to build the thatched hut. Looking at the location of Night Sorrow's thatched hut, King Yawu nodded. That was the place with the most power of fate in the entire Yawu mountain. Night Sorrow and the other two were relatively fast in building the thatched hut. After the thatched hut was built, Night Sorrow and the other two began to meditate and cultivate. Fentian had lived here before and had never cultivated before. Night Sorrow took out a praying mat and threw it into the thatched hut. He sat down cross-legged and calmed his mind. Then, he circulated the merit immortal body's energy to forge his physical body. Next, he communicated with and felt the power of heaven and earth. However, just as Night Sorrow's merit immortal body was circulating, there was a sudden change. Suddenly, a majestic force came from below him and sent him flying without any preparation. The thatched hut also exploded, causing Night Sorrow's surroundings to be filled with broken wood shavings and rotten grass. Fen Tian and Lin Piaomiao, who were meditating, also ran out. It was mainly because the commotion was too big. Martial uncle, what's going on? Night Sorrow looked at King Yawu in confusion. Chapter 1789. Night Sorrow was a little confused. What did he mean by that? It meant that if he continued to cultivate like this, he would continue to be blasted away. Who asked you to choose a good place? That's the location of the dragon horn. Since you've chosen it, then stay there. King Yawu closed his eyes after he finished speaking. After looking at Fen Tian and Lin Piaomiao in a daze, Night Sorrow returned to his original position. The praying mat was gone. Let's just meditate. After sitting down, Night Sorrow realized that he was fine. He then circulated the energy in his body to train his body. After that, he was blasted away by the majestic energy that rushed out from the ground. There was no possibility of suppressing it. Looking at Night Sorrow's sorry state, Fen Tian and Lin Piaomiao did not understand. They were fine after meditating. Senior brother, come and try. Night Sorrow looked at Fen Tian. Fen Tian looked at King Yawu. Seeing that King Yawu had no reaction like a statue, Fen Tian went to the place where Night Sorrow was cultivating and sat down. Senior brother, try circulating your energy. Night Sorrow looked at Fen Tian and asked. Fen Tian glanced at Night Sorrow and circulated the energy in his body. In the end, the energy in his body reached the point of rolling, but there was no problem at all. Senior brother, come down. I'll do it again. Night Sorrow waved at Fen Tian. Fen Tian got up and went to the side. He did not know what was going on. Taking a deep breath, Night Sorrow sat down cross-legged and began to circulate his energy. As the energy in his body circulated, he was blasted away again. Night Sorrow rubbed his face. He knew that this might be his problem. 8. Without waiting for Night Sorrow to speak, Lin Piaomiao went to the place where Night Sorrow was blasted away. She sat down and cultivated. After a while, she stood up. She was fine. Don't do useless work. You should slowly study it yourself. King Yawu did not open his eyes but said. At this moment, Night Sorrow had some analysis in his heart. There might be a problem with the energy. It was different from Fen Tian and Lin Piaomiao's energy that triggered the energy in Yawu Mountain. Senior martial brother, big sister Xian, you two go ahead and cultivate. Don't worry about me. After saying that, Night Sorrow returned to his original position and started to circulate the energy in his body one by one. Space energy, time energy, destruction energy, nothingness energy. After circulating the energy, Night Sorrow stood up, opened a jar of wine, and drank a few mouthfuls. After that, he returned to his original position and sat down. Then, he retracted the other energies in his body and slowly activated his light of virtue. Sure enough, the moment Night Sorrow circulated his power of virtue, energy came from beneath him. However, as he had only circulated a small amount of his power of virtue, the energy coming from beneath him was not ferocious. This not ferocious was referring to the fact that compared to the previous few times, this time, his clothes were fluttering, and his hair was standing on end. After stabilizing himself, Night Sorrow channeled the space-time power within his body to refine the energy that had entered his body. After refining it, Night Sorrow realized that it was not only pure energy that rushed up, but also the power of merit. To refine or not to refine? It would be a pity if he did not refine it, but what if he did? That was the energy and power of virtue of the human race's fate dragon. If it damaged the human race's fate dragon, the loss would outweigh the gain. After thinking for a while, Night Sorrow stopped cultivating and came to King Yawu. After Night Sorrow had fought for a while, King Yawu opened his eyes. What's wrong? Are you confused? Yes, I'm a little confused. Night Sorrow nodded. It's not scary to be confused. What's scary is not being confused. If you don't know that you're on the wrong path and think that you're on the right path, you'll keep running until the end. King Yawu nodded at Night Sorrow. I can refine the energy that spurts up from the ground, but I can feel that it's different from ordinary energy. If I refine it, will it harm the human race's fate? Night Sorrow asked. How much can you refine? For the human race's fate dragon, it's not even a drop in the ocean. In addition, if you can draw out the energy of the human race's fate dragon, you can make the human race's fate dragon grow horns sooner. It's a good thing for the human race. Go. King Yawu nodded at Night Sorrow. After returning to his original position, Night Sorrow sat down cross-legged and began to cultivate. He even ran his space-time energy around his body to accelerate time. Night Sorrow had the space-time rules, will, and momentum of heaven and earth, so he could control the flow of time. However, without a medium, he could only accelerate time 4 times faster. Night Sorrow could now accelerate time 4 times faster. While refining, Night Sorrow also released his soul power and felt the momentum of heaven and earth with the space-time attribute, nothingness attribute, and destruction attribute. At this time, Night Sorrow's body was shrouded in a layer of hazy energy, and the figure inside could not be seen clearly. This was the space-time energy, and it was this energy that separated Night Sorrow from the real world. King Yawu stood up and looked at Night Sorrow's cultivation state. With the Merit Emperor's energy guiding, the day when the human race's fate dragon will grow horns is not far away. At this time, in the Night Moon Villa in the Divine Capital, Reese was recording things, mainly to organize the information. When he found a suitable target, he would start smashing bricks. Night Sorrow, how are you doing? Lin Piaomiao looked at Night Sorrow and asked. She and Night Sorrow's doppelganger were in the Night Moon Villa, and so was Fentian. I've already started cultivating. In the future, my energy might reach the limit first. However, it's useless to keep up with my energy, because my realm is not enough. Night Sorrow said. This was the trend he had foreseen. He did not mention the other benefit, which was that it could increase the maturity of his merit power. This was extremely rare and had never happened before. In the past, his merit power would only increase naturally and slowly, but now it could be absorbed and refined. This was something that Night Sorrow could not imagine. If you use energy to break through your realm, that would be amazing. Using strength to prove one's Tao is a legend. In the past, there were people who used strength to prove one's Tao, but they were all reincarnated and merged with the original body. They could use energy to break through their realm without directly cultivating. Reese looked at Night Sorrow and said. Reese, don't be sarcastic. You should know that some legends can be broken. Ordinary people like us can't do it, but Night Sorrow might be able to do it. Don't forget that Night Sorrow is now the only Merit Emperor in the Celestial Realm. Pu Luo looked at Reese and said. If there's a chance, I'll give it a try. However, I still don't understand. If I have energy, but my realm is low, isn't that a difference in strength? Night Sorrow looked at them and asked. It's not like that. Cultivators who use strength to prove one's Tao will definitely surpass those who have comprehended their realm. As for why, don't ask me, I don't know either. Pu Luo looked at Night Sorrow and shook his head. Chapter 1790. Night Sorrow nodded at the Great Demon King. I can't predict what the future will be like, but I'll work hard, Night Sorrow said. Your cultivation is trash, but you're confident. The Great Demon King looked at Night Sorrow and turned his head away. How are we trash? You must have been trash when you were his age. Lin Piaomiao was dissatisfied after hearing the Great Demon King's words. I just said a few words about your man. Do you have to be so agitated? The Great Demon King looked at Lin Piaomiao and said. He's very confident. Your words will hurt him. Lin Piaomiao handed a cup of tea to Night Sorrow and shook her head at Night Sorrow. Sister Xian, it's nothing. One day, he'll say that I'm not trash. Night Sorrow smiled. Just then, Roy C knocked on the table. Is this a good target? This guy likes to marry mortal girls and changes them frequently. How can he be so shameless? He's even the leader of a force. How shameless. After Roy C said that, everyone nodded in agreement. They looked down on this brick-smacking target. As soon as the sky turned dark, they set off. Fen Tian and Roy C stood guard outside to prevent anyone from running away. With so many people, there was no one to smack the brick. It wasn't difficult at all. After a while, they smacked the brick successfully. When they returned to Night Moon Villa, Roy C and the rest decided to take over this shameless territory. While they were discussing, Night Sorrow backed out. He was short of people and it wasn't suitable for him to take over territory. Fen Tian also expressed that he wouldn't be involved in the matter of territory. This isn't good either. Let's form a force. What do you think? Pu Luo asked. I'm fine with it. Yu Zhu said. Roy C nodded. This is a good thing. This way, we can really help each other. Sure. Pu Luo, you can do it. The Great Demon King agreed. He had a unique personality. In the past, he was always alone and didn't interact with others. Now, he felt that they were very compatible and could work together. That's it then. The 7 of us will form a force. Now, let's name it. Pu Luo made the decision directly. The few of them studied the name of the new force while Night Sorrow went to practice his spear arts. His main body would cultivate his realm while his doppelganger would improve his spear arts. This was his cultivation plan. It took a lot of effort to come up with a name. Even after 2 days, they still hadn't figured it out. On Night Sorrow's day, when he finished his spear practice and entered the hall, the few of them were still yelling. I don't understand. Why is it so difficult to come up with a name? Everyone will think of a name and draw lots. I will use whichever name I draw, Night Sorrow said as he poured himself a cup of water from the teapot. Alright, I'll call it the Demon Region, the Great Demon King said. You guys write it yourselves. Once you're done, I'll grab it. Night Sorrow took a sip of water and said to the few of them who still wanted to talk. After looking at Night Sorrow, the few of them started to write balls of paper. Soon, they finished writing. Then, Yu Zhu rubbed it in her hands. Night Sorrow casually drew one. Who wrote it? Why are you so arrogant? Night Sorrow opened it and saw the words Humanitarian League written on it. I wrote it. I feel that the purpose of this league is to eliminate evil and promote kindness. It will allow the human race to have a good atmosphere and uphold justice. Isn't it better to call it the Humanitarian League? Lin Piaomiao looked at Night Sorrow and asked. All right. Seeing that it was written by Lin Piaomiao and hearing her explanation, Night Sorrow didn't have any objections. Ruisi looked at Night Sorrow in disdain. We wrote it arrogantly. Is it okay if it's written by your wife? I think it's pretty good. Alright, the name has been decided. You guys continue to study it, Night Sorrow said and left the hall to do his own things. Regarding the Humanitarian League, Knight Sorrow didn't express any opinions because other than him and Fantion, the others were all elders of the human race. There was also a law enforcement elder, so he didn't need to say anything. However, a day later, another problem arose. No one was willing to take up the role before the leader was chosen. Pu Luo, you're the law enforcement elder of the Human Race's Clan Elder Association. Can't you do this? Knight Sorrow said when he saw that there was no result. No, I'm in the Clan Elder Association. I usually don't care about anything. Pu Luo shook his head. Great Demon King, can't you do it? Knight Sorrow looked at the Great Demon King. If you want to kill someone or smash a brick, I'll do it. Forget about the leader, the Great Demon King wasn't interested. Alright then. We don't need a leader in the future. Let's discuss everything. If there's no result, then we'll just follow the majority, Knight Sorrow said and continued to practice his spear arts. That's a good idea, but we need a leader. Otherwise, we won't even have a representative when negotiating with others, Yuzhu voiced her opinion. Knight Sorrow, you can be the leader, Pu Luo said. I'm not interested. You're all heroes. Let a piece of trash like me be the leader. Stop joking, Knight Sorrow said and left the hall to practice his spear arts. Knight Sorrow practiced his spear arts for a while, but Fantion stopped him. Original N version 8 equals release %D. Let's go. Let's find a place to drink and celebrate the establishment of our Humanitarian League, the Great Demon King said. It's quick this time. The leader has been chosen. Who is it? Knight Sorrow threw the blood-Chilan evil-slaying spear into the holster on his back and asked. Once you've been chosen, you'll be the leader of our Humanitarian League, Reese said with a smile. I'm not doing this, Knight Sorrow shook his head. No, this is the result of our research. The minority obeys the majority, the Great Demon King said as he patted Knight Sorrow's shoulder. Who's the minority? Who's the majority? Knight Sorrow's eyes looked at the few of them. We're the majority. You're the minority, so you have no room to refute. As for the matter, you don't have to worry. We'll discuss and arrange it together. Pu Luo's face was also full of smiles. They were stuck on other things, but when it came to electing Knight Sorrow as the leader, no one objected. Lin Piaomiao smiled and shook her head at Knight Sorrow. She was happy because this was her recognition of Knight Sorrow. I understand what a piece of trash is and what it means to bully others. You're bullying a piece of trash like me, Knight Sorrow said helplessly. That's not it. Let's be serious. We all believe in you. Besides, you have good connections. The 7 clan elders are very friendly to you. The Grand Elder also has a good impression of you. He even taught you his secret techniques. In the Divine Capital, no one has a stronger background than you. Fantion's background is strong, but he can't do anything without the Divine Capital, Pu Luo said. Yes, no one is more suitable than you. The Humanitarian League's leader is very powerful. Let's see who dares to touch our leader in the future, Yuzhu said as she waved her hand. Chapter 1791. If you didn't do anything wrong, then we're the ones who said it. If. Humph, you'll have to clean up your own mess. The Demon King sneered. Alright, let's celebrate. After the celebration, each of you can send a team of your elites over and start fighting for territory. Knight Sorrow was also excited. Haha. It's hard to imagine that you're the Merit Emperor. Lin Piaomiao looked at Knight Sorrow and laughed. She was happy that her husband had such a high status. He was the leader of the Humanitarian League. Everyone had to give him some face wherever he went. Humans have emotions and desires. What's wrong with fighting for territory? Knight Sorrow shook his head. I know you have emotions and desires. You even used an illusion to cover up your wedding night. Yuzhu looked at Knight Sorrow with disdain. However, Knight Sorrow and Lin Piaomiao looked at Yuzhu angrily. This meant that Yuzhu really did investigate. If it wasn't for the illusion, Yu Zhu would have found out about them. The others shook their heads and walked out. However, when they passed by Yu Zhu, they looked at her strangely. Ruisi, who was the last to leave, said, "Women's hearts are unpredictable. They are always restless." This made Yu Zhu very angry. However, Ruisi walked in front and didn't give her a chance to scold them. They found the best restaurant in the holy capital and started eating and drinking. High-level cultivators rarely did this, but they were all very happy today. However, after they finished eating and drinking, no one paid the bill. You all have big families and businesses. If you don't pay the bill, why are you sitting here? Night Sorrow stared at them. You're the Alliance Master. You become the Alliance Master of the Human Tao Alliance. Shouldn't you treat us to a meal? Pu Luo took a sip of tea and said, "All right, I admit defeat. It's hard to imagine that you all are like this." Night Sorrow went to pay the bill. 300,000 Saint Spirit stones. Seeing Night Sorrow pay the bill with his storage ring, the innkeeper looked at Night Sorrow as if he was looking at an idiot. "Sister Xian, I don't understand. What's with that look?" Night Sorrow asked. "You can't be blamed for this. The Holy Capital City's City Lord Office has opened up the storage of Holy Spirit stones. After you deposit them, you'll be issued a Holy Spirit stone card. This represents 1 million. Lin Piaomiao took out a blue crystal card and said, "I really don't know. No one told me. You guys didn't give me a crystal card when we were splitting the resources," Night Sorrow said as he looked at them. Pu Luo looked at Night Sorrow and said, "You always use Holy Spirit stones to buy things, so we thought you liked shiny things." During this period of time, Night Sorrow didn't care about the resources. After the brick auction, the resources were all collected by Pu Luo and the others. Then, they would divide the resources, and he would take whatever was given to him. On the next chapter. Sister Xian, I hate it when people look at me like I'm an idiot. Help me exchange 10 million later. Night Sorrow took out a storage ring and said to Lin Piaomiao. Lin Piaomiao smiled. Night Sorrow didn't lack resources. He had a solid foundation. Night Sorrow, don't mind this. I won't use the Holy Spirit stone card. You still have the storage ring. If I'm the one paying the bill, just transfer the Holy Spirit stones out of the ring. Look down on him. Just bury him. The Great Demon King said to Night Sorrow. After returning to the Night Moon Villa, Night Sorrow continued to practice his spear skills. The others began to study the formation of the Humanitarian League. They also needed to choose a headquarters. After the Humanitarian League was formed, they needed a formal place to work. We haven't been looking for trouble with Li Zongyuan recently. He's been hiding. Let's take over his nest in the holy capital. The Great Demon King said. Everyone agreed. Li Zongyuan's Ocean Sky Mansion was very extravagant. It wasn't far from the Night Moon Villa. During this time, the Great Demon King really went to the Ocean Sky Mansion. But since Li Zongyuan wasn't there, he didn't do anything. He also didn't mention this to the others. Everyone agreed. Then, they went to gather people. Everyone had to bring a group of elites over. Lin Piaomiao was the fastest. The reason was because the Holy Capital and Misty Imperial City were connected by an Emperor-grade teleportation array. If I'm not here. Night Sorrow looked at Lin Piaomiao and smiled. Lin Piaomiao blushed. She naturally understood what Night Sorrow meant. Now that the others weren't back, it was because the two of them were in the same world. However, they were both doppelgangers. They couldn't do anything now. On the Yawa Mountain, Night Sorrow and the others were cultivating. Night Sorrow was refining the energy that rushed into his body. He was strengthening the energy of various attributes. At the same time, he was refining the power of merit that entered his body. When he was guiding the energy in the Yawa Mountain, Night Sorrow was very careful with his power of merit. Because if it was too strong, the energy that rushed out of the Yawa Mountain would be fierce. He would be blasted away. This was how he controlled it. When he was strengthening the energy in his body, Night Sorrow's soul connected with the heaven and earth. He was comprehending the power of heaven and earth. When he first arrived at the Yawu mountain, Night Sorrow felt that it was ordinary. It wasn't a place where the will of heaven and earth and the power of heaven and earth manifested. But now, he didn't think so. After the energy rushed out of the Yawu mountain, it connected with the sky and created a collision. The will of various attributes and the power of heaven and earth appeared. Even if time was only 4 times faster, his comprehension speed wasn't slow. King Yawu had been paying attention to the cultivation of Night Sorrow and the other two. He was mainly paying attention to Night Sorrow. Looking at the energy wrapped around Night Sorrow's body and the essence, energy, and spirit that naturally flowed out of Night Sorrow's body with spear intent, King Yawu was very satisfied. He never thought that Night Sorrow would have such a cultivation effect. When he let Night Sorrow cultivate in the Yawu mountain, King Yawu's original intention was to let Night Sorrow obtain some of the fate of the human race. But he never thought that it would have such an effect. At this moment, the clouds above the Yawu mountain were rolling. It was a scene caused by the dragon of fate connecting with the heaven and earth. The power of heaven and earth contained within was very strong. King Yawu knew that it wasn't only Night Sorrow's cultivation that went smoothly. Lin Piaomiao and Fan Tian would also borrow the power of heaven and earth that Night Sorrow triggered. The power of heaven and earth contained the power of fate, which would be of great help to them. Is this what it means to have someone close to the body of merit with fate? King Yawu murmured. He knew that without Night Sorrow, Lin Piaomiao and Fan Tian wouldn't have such an opportunity. Yi Shang was cultivating at full speed. While he was raising his cultivation level, he was constantly refining the energy that was rushing into his body. The energy that rushed into Night Sorrow's body was incomparably pure. He didn't need to refine the impurities. He just needed to integrate it into his own energy. It was much easier than normal cultivation. Night Sorrow wanted to cultivate his own energy to saturation. Using strength to prove one's Tao was a legend. But if there was a chance, Night Sorrow wouldn't let it go. At this moment, in the Devil Wing clan's Devil Imperial City, Mo Lu and Mo Tianji were reporting the situation. Trash. An energy appeared and directly knocked Mo Lu over. Mo Lu stabilized himself and didn't dare to speak. Chapter 1792. Yes, Mo Lu will go look for her immediately. Mo Lu bowed. This is a strand of hair that I once had. This is my natal weapon. Use these two as a medium to find the one that suits me the most. A silver strand of hair and a long sword flew towards Mo Lu. It was Mo Tianji's hair and long sword. Mo Tianji had been burned by the virtuous flames, but her nascent soul was still able to fight when it left her body. Her weapon and storage ring were taken away by her nascent soul. They did not fall into Night Sorrow's hands. Mo Lu bowed and left. He knew that he couldn't take back Mo Tianji's body at the moment. He had to find the pure Yin woman and let Mo Tianji borrow her body. Only then could she ensure that her soul power wouldn't dissipate. After leaving the sacrificial tower, Mo Lu found a fortune teller and started divining. There were very few pure Yin women in the world, and they all had different talents. Mo Lu was looking for the strongest diviner of the demon wing race. He wanted to find a pure Yin woman with the best aptitude. That way, even if she didn't have her own body, Mo Tianji would still have extraordinary battle prowess. Even if her body was destroyed, she could still possess it. The best fortune teller in the demon wing clan, Mo Sha, took Mo Tianji's weapon and white hair and started divining. The image kept flashing and shaking. Following that, a woman in a white dress appeared. She was sitting in a large hall and reading some books. If Night Sorrow was here, he would definitely recognize her. She was Jun Xuanji. She's a human? Why is she most suitable for Lord Heavenly Concubine? Mo Lu did not understand. The result will not be wrong, Mo Sha said. He was the best fortune teller in the Demon Wing clan. He had never been wrong before. Continue divining. Give us more detailed information. It will be easier for us to find her. Also, find the second target, Mo Lu said. Mo Sha nodded and continued divining. Following that, another woman appeared. This time, she was from the Demon Wing clan. Holding the crystal ball, Mo Lu entered the sacrificial tower and activated the crystal ball for Mo Tianji to see. After seeing the scene recorded in the crystal ball, the sacrificial tower's energy roiled. This was the reason why Mo Tianji was so emotional. Haha. Unexpected, unexpected. Don't touch that woman. You must not touch her. Send your clansmen into the human celestial realm. Find a way for her to enter the Emperor realm. Also, bring that woman from our Demon Wing clan. Mo Luo this time, she did not lose her temper. Of Your Excellency, it's very difficult to infiltrate the human race. Those who aren't Di Qi cultivators have no chance at all. Is it worth it to sacrifice Di Qi cultivators? Mo Lu frowned. He felt that Mo Tianji's order was inappropriate. Then who do you think is more important, me rising again, or a few great emperor clansmen? Mo Tianji didn't get angry, even though Mo Lu's words were disrespectful. Yawu Mountain. Fen Tian and Lin Piaomiao would occasionally stop to rest. Knight Sorrow, on the other hand, did not move at all. He was cultivating nervously. Have some tea before you cultivate. King Yawu opened his eyes and waved at Fen Tian and Lin Piaomiao. Fen Tian and Lin Piaomiao sat across the table in front of King Yawu. Lin Piaomiao took the tea set and began to brew tea. Master, this guy is too steady. He did not move at all under such a strong energy attack. He can cultivate all the time. Fen Tian said. Fen Tian, you are at a bottleneck. It is difficult for you to improve. Piaomiao, you can improve your cultivation after passing the Emperor Tribulation. However, you also need inspiration to improve your cultivation. Knight Sorrow is different. Does he have a bottleneck now? No. That is why he can charge forward. King Yawu looked at Fen Tian and Lin Piaomiao and said. This is the human race's merit emperor. He is too powerful. Fen Tian said in a low voice. Although he did not use a spatial treasure, his cultivation speed is definitely not slow. Instead, it is very beneficial. It will not be long before he enters the Imperial Emperor realm. The most important thing is that he will have a glazed bone. King Yawu looked at Knight Sorrow again and said. Glazed bone? Fen Tian looked at King Yawu. He has a glazed golden body now. It will not be long before he has a glazed sacred body. He will have a glazed sacred bone. Do you know what this means? King Yawu looked at Fen Tian and asked. Isn't it said that only Buddhist cultivators in the immortal Buddha domain can cultivate a glazed body? Moreover, it must be a cultivator with high attainments in the path of karma and the path of mind. It is less than 1 in a million. Fen Tian thought for a moment and said. He knew some secrets. An Emperor realm merit body with a flawless heart. This is the path of mind. When one's merit power enters the 9th level, there is no karma in the body. Therefore, it is not strange to cultivate a glazed sacred bone. King Yawu explained to Fen Tian and Lin Piaomiao. We have to keep an eye on him. He is full of treasures. Don't let any evil people have ideas about him. A trace of fear appeared in Fen Tian's eyes. He knew what a glazed sacred bone was. Lin Piaomiao was also a little nervous. Why did Yuan Ji of the Misty Dynasty have a good combat strength even though his cultivation was average? It was because he had a glazed sacred bone in his left hand. Knight Sorrow is young. You should think for him. Besides, one of you is his wife and the other is his senior brother. You will have luck by his side. Go and cultivate. King Yawu nodded at Fen Tian and Lin Piaomiao. In the Night Moon Villa of the Divine Capital, Knight Sorrow was still practicing his spear. However, Sometimes he would stand there for a long time before shooting out a single spear. Although it was just a single spear without any energy, it could change the wind and clouds in the sky. He has the charm of Master's spear technique. His essence, energy, and spirit have already merged into the spear. Looking at Knight Sorrow, who was practicing his spear technique, Fentian's eyes were filled with surprise. Cultivating to the Emperor realm at around 200 years old. His comprehension and aptitude are naturally not bad. Pu Luo said. After cultivating for a while, Knight Sorrow returned to the front of the hall. How is the construction of our humanitarian league going? Don't worry. We have already taken over Li Zongyuan's Ocean Sky Mansion. We are currently renovating it. Some other territories have also been taken over by our humanitarian league. It won't be long before the humanitarian league becomes famous. Pu Luo said with a smile. Let's not talk about strength first. Your status as the league leader is comparable to any overlord. How do you feel? Great Demon King looked at Knight Sorrow and asked. What's so good about it? I understand what you mean. Thank you for your kindness. However, I will obtain whatever I need through my own efforts. Fame and dignity. Knight Sorrow said to Great Demon King. How is your original body now? Lin Piaomiao looked at Knight Sorrow and asked. Chapter 1793. Your original body shut off its spiritual consciousness and went into seclusion? Fentian's eyes were filled with shock. Yes, it has been a while. The Yawa Mountain's momentum is very strong. My original body is trying to comprehend it, so I shut off my spiritual consciousness. That way, I won't be affected, Knight Sorrow said. I'll be waiting for you to come out. You'll probably be an imperial emperor by then. Yuzhu cupped her hands at Knight Sorrow. It was very rare for one to go into seclusion after gaining enlightenment. Every time one gained enlightenment, it would bring about great progress. It could even be said that it was something that could only be found by chance. I hope so, Knight Sorrow was very confident in himself. After that, everyone started to talk about the development and future of the Humanitarian League. In the end, they found out that there was a lack of management talent. Pu Luo and the others were the leaders of their own forces. In their own forces, they only controlled the direction and the details were handled by their subordinates. If you're talking about management talent, I do have one. But don't look down on him because of his low cultivation. Otherwise, I'd rather not bring him here, Knight Sorrow said after thinking for a while. Whoever dares to look down on him, just kill him. It doesn't matter if his cultivation is low. I'll send an imperial emperor to protect him, the Great Demon King said to Knight Sorrow. He was decisive in killing. This was his personality. If you want the protection of a female imperial emperor, I'm talking about a female, Knight Sorrow said to the Great Demon King. He was talking about Jun Xuanji. Knight Sorrow's forces could be said to have all withdrawn from the world of reincarnation. Knight Sorrow did not develop in the world of reincarnation, so Jun Xuanji returned to the Nine Regions world. Now, he was managing the development of the Nine Regions world with Tai Shu Yen. Are forever and forever, free of plus fee say, okay, you call the shots, the Great Demon King nodded. Okay, I'll have her come over later. She's definitely a talent, Knight Sorrow said with a smile. At this moment, an old man appeared outside the divine capital. However, he did not continue to fly. He just stood in place. The moment he stabilized himself, a figure appeared. He was wearing a purple battle robe and a purple gold crown. It was King Yawu. King Xuanwu, you stopped and didn't enter the divine capital. I gave you some face. Tell me, what is it? King Yawu looked at the green-robed elder and said. With King Yawu in charge of the divine capital, no one can act presumptuously. Naturally, I can't barge in either. I'm here to ask King Yawu for your convenience. Let's enter the city to find someone. The old man cupped his hands at King Yawu. You are not allowed to use any force. I will give you 3 days. King Yawu then disappeared. Looking in the direction where King Yawu left, King Black Tortoise pondered for a while. So strong. Is the human clan going to rise again? The Black Tortoise King flashed into the god's capital and appeared in the Night Moon Villa. The moment he appeared, the weapons of Pu Luo, the great demon king, and the others all appeared in their hands. How dare you, this is the divine capital. Fan Tian pointed his sword at the old man. He saw that the old man had horns on his head and knew that he was not a human. I've told King Yawu about this. Also, I don't have any ill intentions. I just want to talk to him. The green-robed old man, King Black Tortoise, looked at Night Sorrow. Senior, please. Night Sorrow pointed at the hall of the Night Moon Villa. King Black Tortoise entered the hall and sat down. He then introduced himself. I'm the patriarch of the Black Tortoise clan. I'm here to negotiate with the Night Region Lord. Can you let us take away the descendant in your world? Long Xiansheng. Night Sorrow knew the purpose of this old man's visit. Just like the Golden Dragon clan, the Ice Phoenix clan, and the Green Rock clan, he was here for the descendant. He wanted to take Long Xiansheng away. Of course, it was now King Long Xiansheng. Sure, I won't block the future of anyone in the 9-domain world. However, the premise is that you can't force them. You have to respect their choice. If he's willing to return to your Black Tortoise clan, you can't let him suffer any grievances. Otherwise, even if I can't defeat him, I, Night Sorrow, will demand an explanation. Night Sorrow looked at King Black Tortoise and said. Alright, I promise you. If he's willing to return to my clan, my Black Tortoise clan will do our best to nurture him. King Black Tortoise nodded. He did not feel disgusted. Instead, he felt gratified for the descendant. Senior, please rest here. I've already informed him. He'll be here soon. Night Sorrow said. Hurry up. If I stay here for too long, your city lord, King Yawu, will be dissatisfied. The human race and the Black Tortoise clan are allies. Therefore, some conflicts have to be avoided. King Black Tortoise said to Night Sorrow. King Black Tortoise went to the guest room to rest. Night Sorrow and the others were in the hall of the Night Moon Villa. Night Sorrow, how many situations like this have happened in our 9-domain world? One by one, they've been taken away. Lin Piaomiao said. I don't know. Why would something like this happen in the 9-domain world? I'm also confused. When my original body stops meditating, I'll ask my uncle. Night Sorrow shook his head. He really did not understand. Could you have been sent to the 9-domain world by some powerful clan? Lin Piaomiao smiled at Night Sorrow. I'm a human, okay? Don't you know? Night Sorrow glanced at Lin Piaomiao. Haha. After the wedding, you're still wondering if your husband is a human. Lin Piaomiao, you're a genius. Yu Zhu laughed. Wrong. I meant that he's not a human clan. Lin Piaomiao's face turned red from Yu Zhu's words. Impossible. If there's a memory seal, then Night Sorrow would have already entered the Overlord realm. The seal would have been broken. I don't know who can make the seal so strong that even an Overlord realm can't break it. Pu Luo said. Don't think too much. I have parents. My parents gave birth to me. Night Sorrow said unhappily. Night Sorrow, apart from yourself, I want to teach you something. If it's a soul that's sent in and reincarnated, it has nothing to do with whether your parents gave birth to you or not. Ruisi said. What do you mean by that? How dare you doubt my origins? I'll say it again. I'm 100% a human. Night Sorrow slammed the table. No one said you're not a human. We're just imagining things. Yu Zhu said with a smile. Night Sorrow, you don't have a problem. But you have to be careful. There are some outstanding people in your world who can send in their descendants. Therefore, it's also possible that some people with exceedingly powerful means would cast a part of their soul into it to reincarnate and recultivate in order to seek a great opportunity and prove their Tao through strength. Pu Luo's complexion became serious because he had thought of some possibilities. Hearing Pu Luo's words, Night Sorrow was stunned. Pu Luo wasn't joking. It was entirely possible. Night Sorrow, Pu Luo's words make sense. You have to be careful. Lin Piaomiao said. Night Sorrow stood up and paced back and forth. He naturally understood the seriousness of the problem. It was fine if it was someone from the righteous path. If it was someone from the evil path or another race, it would be troublesome. I'll arrange for someone to compile a list. Night Sorrow sighed. Chapter 1794. Are you sure? Night Sorrow looked at Pu Luo and asked. Yes. Although they will become ordinary people after reincarnation, the arrogance in their souls will still be there. They will not mate with others because it is blasphemy to them. When they reincarnate, their souls will be restricted by the seal. Pu Luo said. Night Sorrow, when I heard that you came from the 9-domain world, I was also surprised. I received an inheritance in the past and it said that there will be some special situations in the 9-domain world. There will be reincarnated people. I thought you were one of them at first. But after some understanding, I realized that you weren't. Lin Piaomiao said. According to your prophecy, there will definitely be reincarnated people in the 9-domain world. But it's hard to say who it is. In the future, all the people in the 9-domain world who have reached the 8th level will be recorded. There will be no Tao companion. This is a huge trap. Night Sorrow took it seriously. Night Sorrow, how about we banish those who become emperors from the 9-domain world in the future? This way, the 9-domain world will never be in danger of being overthrown. Lin Piaomiao said. She knew that Night Sorrow's weakness was his family. So, she didn't want Night Sorrow to have any worries in the future. No need. In the 9-domain world, except for the emperors, no one is a match for me. Even if there is someone in the emperor realm, I believe that I can control them. Night Sorrow said with narrowed eyes. Don't be too nervous. There are not many people who can become emperors. Plus, there are no Tao companions. There are not many people you need to pay attention to. Pu Luo looked at Night Sorrow and said. He didn't want Night Sorrow to feel too much pressure. Night Sorrow nodded. He knew that it was useless to worry. If the person didn't reveal himself, it would be hard to find out who the reincarnated person was. While Night Sorrow was thinking, Long Xianqing arrived at the Night Moon Villa. Now, he should be called Lord Long Xianjun. Domain Lord, someone wants to see me? Lord Long Xianjun asked Night Sorrow with cupped fists. Yes, he wants to talk to you, but it's up to you. Night Sorrow nodded at Lord Long Xian and brought him to Black Tortoise King's room. Following which, Night Sorrow left. As for the conversation between Black Tortoise King and Lord Long Xian, he did not want to hear it, nor did he want to ask. Not long after Night Sorrow picked up Lord Long Xianjun, Jun Xuanji also arrived at Night Moon Villa. After Night Sorrow informed Lord Long Xian, he communicated with Jun Xuanji and allowed Jun Xuanji to take the teleportation array to the god's capital. After inviting Jun Xuanji to sit down, Night Sorrow explained the situation in detail. Don't worry about it. I'll send an Imperial Emperor to protect you. We'll take care of the battles. I'll leave the rest to you, said the Great Demon King. Okay, I will try, Jun Xuanji nodded. Following which, Night Sorrow sent Jun Xuanji to the guest room to rest. The Humanitarian League headquarters was still being renovated. After leaving the guest room, Night Sorrow turned to leave. Suddenly, he had a thought. Jun Xuanji was very talented. Could he be the reincarnation of a powerful expert? Following which, Night Sorrow slapped his head. He felt that he was a little crazy. When Night Sorrow returned to the hall and was talking to Pu Luo and the others, Lord Long Xian arrived. Realm Lord, Long Xian has something to say to you. Sit, let's sit down and talk. Knight Sorrow got up and invited Lord Long Xian to sit down. No matter how much higher he was than Long Xian, he was still very respectful to Long Xian. Just now, my family's old ancestor unlocked some of the seals on my body, so my race's memories have been awakened. The 9-domain world's Xian turtle race has nothing to do with me. It's just where I lived and grew up. Because my bloodline is higher than theirs, they gathered around me, Lord Long Xian said to Knight Sorrow. I can understand this. Our 9-domain world is not ordinary, Knight Sorrow nodded. No matter if it's a human, a demon, or a divine beast, they all have to return to their roots. So, I plan to return to my family. However, the 9-domain world is also my home. It has become a brand in my soul, Lord Long Xian said. Just like what you said, the 9-domain world is also your roots. You can come back whenever you want. If you have any difficulties, as long as I, Knight Sorrow, can help. Don't be stingy with your requests, Knight Sorrow said to Lord Long Xian. Thank you, Realm Lord. Long Xian understands. Lord Long Xian stood up and bowed to Knight Sorrow. He knew that Knight Sorrow was speaking from the bottom of his heart. Knight Sorrow was the guardian of the 9-domain world. He was the guardian of everything in the 9-domain world. I am the Black Tortoise race's patriarch. When you have time, you can come to the Black Tortoise race as a guest. You are an important guest. Black Tortoise King appeared and threw a map to Knight Sorrow. I will definitely go if I have time. Knight Sorrow kept the map and said. He knew that Black Tortoise King was one of the true experts in this world. Those who could use methods to send their descendants to the 9-domain world were all unparalleled giants. Translator, Atlas Studios Editor. Atlas Studios. Black Tortoise King left with Lord Long Xian. Knight Sorrow wanted to ask Black Tortoise King about the 9-domain world, but he felt that it wasn't appropriate. It was safer to ask Black Tortoise King first. After all, Black Tortoise King was his martial uncle. Knight Sorrow didn't have to worry about the Humanitarian League. He cultivated his spear skills every day. Cultivation was the foundation of one's strength. Battle techniques were the foundation of one's foundation. Mo Lu was having a headache now. A few Monarch Realm clansmen wanted to use the Nirvana Ocean Bridge to enter the Celestial Realm. However, they were killed before they could pass through the seal. The Nirvana Ocean Bridge was the only connection between Tianhuang and the Celestial Realm. If one didn't pass through the seal, they wouldn't be able to enter the human territory. While Mo Lu was thinking, a woman walked in from the Demon Wing clan's palace. She was only a 7-star king, but her eyes were sharp. My lord. Mo Lu bowed when he saw the woman. Can't we break through? The woman asked Mo Lu. She was Mo Tianji, who possessed the body of Cun Yin. Yes, they have sealed it very tightly. Our clansmen were killed 3 times. Mo Lu bowed and said. Our clansmen will definitely be sent to the Celestial Realm. How about this? Send a message to a few elders. We'll go near Tianhuang City. I'll borrow everyone's energy to open a space-time tunnel. Mo Tianji said. After confirming some things, Mo Tianji couldn't let go anymore. Tianji, I'll help you this time. A man with a silver horn on his head came to the palace. Greetings, Lord Yutian. Mo Lu bowed. This man was like Mo Tianji, a big shot of the Demon Wing clan. However, he was usually in seclusion. Thank you, Yutian, Mo Tianji said to the man with the silver horn. When I was in seclusion, it was you who stopped the unparalleled Sword Emperor. Therefore, I should help you. Mo Lu, go and prepare, Yutian said to Mo Lu. Mo Lu bowed and left the palace. Now, he just needed to follow the instructions. He didn't need to think about whether it would succeed or not. Chapter 1795. After hearing the report, the Grand Elder fell into deep thought. Grand Elder, what's the situation? Is the demon-winged race preparing for war? Are they confident now? Lu Qi asked confusedly. No, it should be because Night Sorrow obtained Mo Tianji's body. They are very anxious now. The Grand Elder said. That should be the case. This is a huge matter for the demon-winged race. It seems like the seal needs to be strengthened. Lu Qi said. Night Sorrow had been working hard on his spear every day. His mixed-element spear art was already somewhat proficient. He could use his own domain with a casual spear art. However, Night Sorrow was still studying King Yawu's spear art. This didn't mean that the High Heaven spear art was much higher than the mixed-element spear art. They were both top-tier spear arts. The reason why the mixed-element spear art was fast was because Night Sorrow had the foundation of a basic spear art. It was relatively easier for him to cultivate it. Night Sorrow had never come into contact with the spirit-controlling spear before, so he had to slowly explore it. While Night Sorrow was cultivating, Mo Tianji and Yu Tian brought the 9 Emperor rank elders of the Devil Wing race and a few normal emperors to the Nirvana Ocean Bridge. After getting on the Nirvana Ocean Bridge, they only walked a short distance before Yu Tian looked at Mo Tianji. We cannot go any further. Normal emperors are fine, but if we get too close, the desolate city lord will come out. We can retreat, but it will be difficult for them. Then let's begin. Mo Tianji nodded. Start. The 9 demon-winged race emperors set up a formation with Yu Tian and Mo Tianji as the core. Yu Tian then opened and closed his hands, tearing the space apart. He then sent the 9 emperors, Mo Tianji, and his own energy into the spatial tunnel to stabilize it. Quickly go in. I can only stabilize this spatial tunnel for 15 minutes. As for whether you can reach the celestial realm, that will depend on yourselves. Yu Tian roared at the normal emperors of the demon-winged race who no longer had a single horn or a pair of wings. Hearing Yu Tian's words, the emperors of the demon-winged race entered the spatial tunnel. 15 minutes later, Yu Tian withdrew his arms and the spatial tunnel closed. After that, imperial energy enveloped the group and quickly left the Nirvana Ocean Bridge. Yu Tian, how are you doing? Mo Tianji looked at Yu Tian after they were some distance away. It won't recover within 1,000 years. Even if you enter a spatial treasure to recover, it will still take a few decades, Yu Tian said. The price of forcefully opening a spatial tunnel was extremely high. Even a peerless magnate wouldn't do such a thing. Mo Lu, seal off the news. Before Lord Yutian recovers, we can't afford to fight. If the news is leaked and the humans find out, you know the consequences. Mo Tianji looked at Mo Lu and said. Mo Lu bowed. He naturally understood the severity of the problem. Time slipped away bit by bit. The Humanitarian League was developing very quickly. It was mainly because they were snatching territories very quickly. As long as someone was hit by a brick, their territory would be taken over by the Humanitarian League. The atmosphere in the divine capital was getting better and better. No one dared to snatch territory for no reason or do anything immoral. This was because the Humanitarian League was very impolite. If someone dared to mess around, they would do the same. Because the teleportation formation was more convenient, the people of Star Moon Lake would often come to the divine capital to report to Night Sorrow. Star Moon Lake was developing very smoothly. After a year, good news came one after another. Datura and Sandalwood had both entered the Monarch realm. Blood Emperor Sandalwood finally lived up to his name. The strength of the members of the 9 Heavens army was increasing rapidly. Because of the spatial treasure, as long as their cultivation level was high enough, there was no problem for them to increase their cultivation level. However, there was no news of the God-slaying team. Under the leadership of Liang Yu and Yin Huang, the God-slaying team was still cultivating in the eye of the storm. Night Sorrow's original body hadn't woken up from his cultivation. Night Sorrow felt that if his original body woke up, it would be more likely for him to enter the Monarch realm. This was because the cultivation environment of Yawa Mountain was good. In addition, Night Sorrow's spear technique had improved greatly after the 2 doppelgangers' bitter cultivation. Now, he could use his spirit to control the spear. Of course, his mastery was still very shallow. During this period, Knight Sorrow also went to the Divine Devil Castle a few times to complete missions. He already knew that the Divine Devil Castle was a force of the Tianhuang city. Because of his strength, he was already an elder of the Divine Devil Castle. However, Knight Sorrow wasn't very enthusiastic about missions. He didn't need to worry or work hard for the white tiger blood that Wu Lingfei needed. Lu Qi would sometimes come to Knight Sorrow's place to sit and drink with him. Seeing that Knight Sorrow's development was going smoothly, he was very gratified. On Yawa Mountain, Fan Tian stood in front of King Yawu. Master, disciple feels that my accumulation is deep enough to trigger the monarch tribulation. Otherwise, it would be a complete waste of time and there would be no improvement at all. Have you decided? King Yawu looked at Fan Tian and asked. Yes, disciple has decided. Master, please allow me. Fan Tian's eyes were filled with determination. All right, then I won't stop you. But remember, don't try to be brave. If you pass the 5 tribulations of the heavenly Tao, you must stop. King Yawu looked at Fan Tian and said. Fan Tian bowed and left. He wanted to find a place to pass the tribulation. King Yawu didn't follow him. No one could help him pass the heavenly Tao tribulation. Looking at the rolling energy clouds above Knight Sorrow's head, King Yawu's eyes were filled with gratification. Knight Sorrow's cultivation was going smoothly. As his martial uncle, he was happy. In addition, with Knight Sorrow's guidance, the day when the human clan's dragon of destiny would grow a horn wasn't too far away. Seeing that Lin Piaomiao had finished her cultivation, King Yawu waved at Lin Piaomiao and asked her about Knight Sorrow's clone in the divine capital. Lin Piaomiao gave a brief answer and also mentioned that King Black Tortoise had come to see Knight Sorrow. Martial uncle knows that King Black Tortoise has come. Actually, as long as it's not the Black Dragons, Martial uncle won't prohibit other races from entering the divine capital. The premise is that they don't harm the human clan. King Yawu said. Lin Piaomiao wanted to ask about the 9-domain world. However, she held back. After all, Knight Sorrow was the most suitable person to ask. Piaomiao, is Knight Sorrow's 9-domain world still stable? Mo Tianji's body is in Knight Sorrow's hands. The Demon Wing clan will definitely think of a way to take it back. King Yawu said. Lu Qi had already told him some things, so he knew better. It's stable. Lin Piaomiao nodded. That's good. The 3 giants of the Demon Wing clan can restrain Mo Tianji. This is great news for the human clan. King Yawu said. While the two were talking, the energy clouds above Knight Sorrow's head rolled. Knight Sorrow's body gradually became clear. It was because the spacetime energy had stopped moving. Then, Knight Sorrow's aura became sharp and started to climb. It only stopped when it reached the level of a 4-star emperor. Chapter 1796. On this day, Knight Sorrow had been cultivating for a while when he suddenly remembered that it was time to do something. He stopped cultivating, took a shower, and changed into a new robe. He had bought this robe when he had gone shopping with Yang Lei and Sikong Chuyu. He had never worn it before. Knight Sorrow, who usually did not pay much attention to his appearance, even combed his hair properly today. When he arrived at the God-slaying squad's cultivation base and saw that everyone was working hard, Knight Sorrow felt very relieved. From the beginning until now, this group of brothers had been the most reassuring to him. He had never needed to supervise them. He waved his hand and called the God-slaying squad over. Wow! Captain, you're so handsome today. My heart is itching just looking at you. Lei Bao stuck out his tongue and licked his lips. That's right. Captain is indeed different today. Ling Long also tilted her head and looked at Knight Sorrow. Stop, stop. I have something important to say. After cultivating for so many years and reaching such a level, it's time to pay a visit to the Lord who has bestowed upon me all this. This time, I wanted to bring all of you along. After all, that's your lord. If we don't go when he has something to do, that would be too unreasonable, Ishan said as he looked at the group in front of him. Lord? At this moment, Yang Lei, who was standing to the side, looked at Night Sorrow suspiciously. In all these years, she had never heard of Night Sorrow having a lord. What kind of existence was this lord? Similarly, Yang Lei was not the only one who had such doubts. All the members of the god-slaying squad were looking at each other with wide eyes. Night Sorrow did not say anything. Instead, he waved his hand and a teleportation crystal appeared in his hand. However, this one was different from the ones he had seen before. It was 7-colored and larger than the ones he had seen before. What grade is this? Why is it different from the ones he had seen before? Yang Lei was still as straightforward as ever. She was the first to ask. Night Sorrow smiled and did not say anything. Instead, he began to set up the teleportation array. 15 minutes later, the teleportation circle was set up. Night Sorrow clapped his hands and said, "Who doesn't have secrets? This is the teleportation crystal that the Lord gave me. However, if you want to activate the teleportation array with the rainbow crystal, you need to reach the Emperor realm." Night Sorrow said as he used his energy to wrap everyone up. This teleportation array was different from the ones in the past. It required the energy of the Emperor realm to protect the body. Otherwise, they might be sucked in by the powerful dark mutated energy on the way and then be destroyed. The teleportation this time was different from the previous ones. It took them an entire day to reach their destination. "Milord. What's wrong with you?" After exiting the teleportation array, Night Sorrow looked at the unconscious man on the ground and held him in his arms. The god-slaying team, Yang Lei, and the others had yet to recover from the scene before them. Where is this place? What are the people here dressed up like? There are short-sleeved shirts, suits, and miniskirts. What's even stranger is that the things here, no matter if it's 1, 2, 3, or 4-wheeled monsters, they can run all over the streets. Yang Lei and the others looked at this unfamiliar place, just like how the people around them looked at this group of people who had suddenly arrived. "Milord, you're finally awake. Everyone, quickly come and greet the Lord. Don't just stand there." Night Sorrow shouted to the others. At this moment, the unconscious man on the ground slowly opened his eyes. When he saw the scene before him, he did not know what had just happened. There was a power outage at home, and he was carrying his notebook and planning to go to his relative's house to write. However, he felt his notebook vibrate non-stop. He had a feeling that he could not suppress it. Then, the notebook flew into the air. Following that, a bright light shone, and a group of people he did not recognize appeared. "You? Who are you people?" "I'm just a poor writer. I have neither money nor sex." "You found the wrong person," the unconscious man said. Night Sorrow cupped his hands. "Milord, I'm Night Sorrow. I've brought my brothers here to congratulate you. You've worked hard for us for an entire cycle. You've worked hard." At this moment, the unconscious man on the ground rubbed his eyes. After sizing up the group of people, he realized that they were very familiar. They were the brothers and sisters in his heart. He coughed and said, "It's not hard at all. It's all worth it. Thank you for coming to see me. I hope that I'll also be blessed with luck." From July 16, 2015 to July 16, 2016. Time started from the same day last year and reached the current day. 1 year, to a person's life, is neither long nor short. But to a novel, this is a kind of testimony, a testimony of time. To me, this year has been a year of hard work. Every day, every minute, every second, every word, every story. Someone once said that perseverance will lead to victory. I believe that the harder you work, the luckier you get. Because not all perseverance will lead to success, but all hard work will lead to a relative return. So, I prefer perseverance in the midst of struggle. Writing for 6 years, there are tears and tiredness. Not every sunflower will be liked by people, not every rose will be picked by people, and not every peony will be praised by people. It's the same for stories. In my stories, there are different kinds of flowers. No matter if it's difficult to adjust to different tastes, or difficult to enjoy uniqueness. When I look back, I can see this group of brothers standing behind me and supporting me. My heart is always incomparably warm. I've been happy, sad, and lost. But only my faith has not been lost. Since the book was released, this book has never been less than 4 chapters. I have a mother to accompany and a child to take care of. I've also been sick. But my faith has given me perseverance. As long as I'm alive, as long as I persevere and dare to work hard, I'll definitely be able to walk the path. Even if I'm accompanying my family on a trip, accompanying my family during the day and staying up late to write at night, I'll still finish the chapters. Because I don't dare to slack off, because I can't let down my brothers and sisters. In the future, Shizi will work hard as always. Whether it's this book or the next one, perseverance, hard work, faith, and brothers and sisters will always be in my heart. And I only hope that my brothers and sisters will always be with me. Shizi bowed and thanked them. On the 16th, which was 20 p.m., there would be an event in the group. There would be cool coins, USB drives, notebooks, and cups. In addition, Shizi would like to ask for a devil fruit. The ranking is not important. It proves that Shizi and everyone else have worked hard. Chapter 1797. After a year of bitter cultivation and his own time acceleration, Knight Sorrow used 4 years to increase his spacetime attribute, which originally had a 35% grasp of the power of heaven and earth, to a 42% grasp. The biggest improvement was not in the spacetime attribute, but in the void attribute. It directly entered the middle stage of the 3-star Sovereign Emperor realm, from 27% to 35%. It directly increased by 8%, close to 10%. The same was true for the destruction attribute's momentum of heaven and earth. It increased by 7% just like the spacetime attribute. After activating the leakless true body, Knight Sorrow retracted his aura and stopped circulating his power of merit. He began to stabilize his realm. Without using the power of merit, the energy rushing up from Yawa Mountain decreased, but it was still there. Emperor Realm? Lin Piaomiao looked at Knight Sorrow's figure in surprise. Yes. My 2 supreme attributes have also improved greatly. They are both 3-star sovereign emperors, and it has only been a year. King Yawa's face was full of joy. After stabilizing his cultivation for a day, Knight Sorrow stood up. In a year in the real world, Knight Sorrow had cultivated for 4 years. His realm had increased greatly, but his cultivation had not fallen behind. Martial Uncle, Sister Xian, Knight Sorrow stretched his waist and greeted them. Hurry up and rest. Lin Piaomiao took the teapot and began to brew tea. She was very happy that Knight Sorrow had made progress. Not bad at all. As you improve, the human race's providence dragon is also growing. It's mutually beneficial. Very good. King Yawu smiled at Knight Sorrow and pointed to the chair opposite him. Martial Uncle, I have something to ask. I have been holding back for a long time. Knight Sorrow sat down and said. King Yawu nodded. Knight Sorrow was his martial nephew. He was no different from a disciple. If Knight Sorrow had something to ask, he would naturally answer if he could. I would like to know what is going on with the 9 regions world. Why would so many divine beast clans send their descendants there? There is also a prophecy that the 9 regions world has the reincarnation of an almighty. Knight Sorrow voiced his confusion. Yes, there's nothing that can't be said about this. I'll tell you about it. King Yawu took the tea that Lin Piaomiao brewed. He nodded at Lin Piaomiao and asked her to sit down. With King Yawu's explanation, Knight Sorrow understood. This matter originated from an extremely long time ago. Before the last great era, many great figures already predicted that a supreme being-type world would appear. Uncle Master, don't the great worlds of some realms all have supreme attributes? Why is the 9 domains world so special? Night Sorrow still didn't quite understand. Starter, it's different. The great worlds of some realms do have supreme attributes, but they weren't born with supreme attributes. They evolved later. Such worlds won't produce pure supreme attributes. Those that are born with supreme attributes can bestow supreme attributes to their cultivators. With such an opportunity, all the clans would naturally be eager for it. King Yowu explained to Night Sorrow. Uncle Master, it still doesn't match. The 9 regions world originally didn't have supreme attributes. I obtained the Void Origin Bead in a small space world. After using the Void Origin Bead to repair the broken 9 regions world, it had the current Void Origin Bead. Night Sorrow explained the situation in detail. King Yowu smiled and shook his head. How could it not match? The 9 regions world is very close to the surrounding worlds. They will merge. You obtained the Void Origin Bead, which only pushed this step forward by a little bit. So that's how it is. Then I understand. But why didn't the human clan send people over? Night Sorrow asked. Uncle Master and the city lord of Tianhuang City have discussed this matter. However, they feel that everything is destined. If the heavens protect the human clan, then the supreme attributes will naturally be born in the human clan. If not, then there's no good in forcing it. King Yowu said to Night Sorrow. I understand. If they want to pick people up, then let them. A knot in Night Sorrow's heart was untied. Uncle Master, does that mean that after the 9 regions world develops, its level will be higher than the other great worlds? Lin Piaomiao asked the question in her heart. That's right. In fact, it's the prototype of the next celestial realm. However, it will take a long time. In addition, Night Sorrow, you have to be careful. Perhaps there will be some reincarnations of powerful beings in the 9 regions world. Before their souls were reincarnated, their karma was severed. It's hard to track them down and their birth time is not fixed. King Yowu shook his head. Let nature take its course. There's no other way. Night Sorrow nodded. There is a way. You will always be the strongest in the 9 regions world. That's enough. Kill whoever dares to cause trouble. King Yowu's body emitted a domineering aura. Yes, the fist is the absolute truth. This disciple understands. Yi Shang stood up and bowed to King Yowu. Haha. It's easy to talk to smart people. If I were to tell your brother, he would probably think for half a day. King Yowu said with a smile. Then, King Yowu let Night Sorrow practice his spear skills. He wanted to test the spear skills that Night Sorrow's doppelganger had studied for a year. When Night Sorrow displayed his spear skills, King Yowu nodded. He was very satisfied because Night Sorrow's spear skills had the artistic conception and charm. What he lacked was maturity. Your master is lucky to have you as his disciple. When your spear skills are successful, you will also cultivate your master's sword skills. The inheritance will not be broken. King Yowu said. I will work hard. Let's not talk about revenge. It's my dream to become strong. Night Sorrow nodded. How's your humanitarian league now? King Yowu looked at Night Sorrow and asked. He had already heard about it, but he did not ask about it. He only cared about the divine capital not being invaded by the foreign tribes. I'm not very sure about that. I've been practicing my spear skills. I haven't asked much about it. Speaking of this, he was a little embarrassed. He really did not know much about the Humanitarian League. Martial Uncle, it's like this. The name of the Human Tao Alliance was written by all of us. Night Sorrow drew lots and picked one. The leader is Night Sorrow. He was forced to take up the position by everyone. As for the management, it's all done by the others. It's currently developing very well and is already the #1 faction in God's capital. However, Martial Uncle, don't worry, we won't mess around. Seeing Knight Soro's awkwardness, Lin Piaomiao explained the situation of the Human Dao Alliance. If someone else was so arrogant, Yan Qi and Lu Qi would definitely attack them. But with you, the virtuous emperor, as their leader, the Human Dao Alliance can rest assured. I can rest assured as well. The great demon king is unruly and unrestrained, but that's just his personality. It's also a display of his strength. The only one left is your senior brother. He's a bit murderous, but he's also very clear about right and wrong. Chapter 1798. Your realm is still slow. If someone else said that, I would have slapped them. But I can't bear to scold you because you have worked hard enough. Using strength to prove one's Tao is usually an extreme method used by cultivators who have exhausted their potential. It is actually very difficult. If there is a bottleneck in realm, then there is also a bottleneck in energy, said King Yawu. Yi Shang, you don't have any bottlenecks right now. Just let nature take its course and cultivate. If you really encounter a bottleneck, then think about this problem. Lin Piaomiao looked at Yi Shang and said. Also, be careful. The devil-winged race has been on the move recently. They have attacked the desolate Sky City a few times. They should be plotting something. I have communicated with the desolate Sky City Lord. They should be after Mo Tianji's body. Therefore, your world and your nest must be guarded. Also, you cannot move your original body. Just stay here and cultivate, said King Yawu. Martial Uncle. Knight Sorrow was startled. Yes, you did. Other than participating in the 100 Race Alliance's first vanguard, cultivate here for the rest of your time. When you reach the Emperor realm or when the human race's providence reaches its peak, then we will talk about it again. Since you have just gotten married, then this place is yours. I will go to the city lord residence. Your senior brother and martial uncle will also leave. After speaking, King Yawu's body flashed and left the peak of Yawu Mountain. Knight Sorrow and Lin Piaomiao looked at each other speechlessly. King Yawu's actions were really swift and decisive. It seems like you really can't leave until you reach the Emperor realm, said Lin Piaomiao to Knight Sorrow with a smile. Then I won't leave. The 9 Regions world has a clone guarding it. There is another clone outside doing things. I will just cultivate diligently. Knight Sorrow didn't think much of it. At this moment, in the Sky General World Region's Sky General City, a black-clothed man was sitting opposite Yuan Ji. Realm Lord Yuan, you have no chance to shine now. If you cooperate with me, you still have a chance, said the black-clothed man to Yuan Ji. You're just an avatar. What right do you have to negotiate with me? Yuan Ji looked at the black-clothed man coldly. Qualifications. If you work with us, we can help you rise again. Otherwise, you will forever be suppressed by Lin Piaomiao. Who knows, Knight Sorrow might come and destroy you one day. The black-clothed man said. Then which power do you belong to? Yuan Ji frowned. The black-robed man's words had struck a chord in his heart. He was so scared that he didn't even dare to go outside. The black-robed man had contacted one of Yuan Ji's strongholds in the celestial realm. After receiving 1,000,000 Saint Spirit stones, Yuan Ji's men brought him to the Tianjiang domain. Tell your men to withdraw. The black-clothed man looked around and said. Yuan Ji waved his hand and had everyone in the city lord's mansion leave. I will tell you something first. If you cooperate with us, I can use my resources to help you rise up. Even if the human race is going to be destroyed, I can still protect your Yuan family. The man in black said. Yuan Ji wasn't stupid. After hearing the black-clothed man's words, he immediately understood. That's right. It's fine as long as you know it. Since we can come here, we have some confidence. So, it's up to you whether to cooperate or not. You can go and tell others. I'm just a clone, so it doesn't matter. But, I can guarantee that if there's a war, your Tianjiang domain will be the first to be destroyed. Don't talk to me about teleportation arrays. I can enter the celestial realm through the Nirvana ocean. I can easily enter your Tianjiang domain. The black-clothed man looked at the frightened Yuan Ji and said. Naturally, he was just trying to scare him. The price of opening a spatial tunnel was too high. Yuan Ji sat down. His facial expression was constantly changing because the situation was very serious. He couldn't afford to offend either side. The few palace lords of the ethereal empire could easily squash him to death. The devil-winged clan could also easily kill him. You found the Tianjiang domain. What do you need me to do? After thinking for a while, Yuan Ji asked. Find someone. Help us find someone, and I'll give you 5 million Saint Spirit stones. If you can enter Night Sorrow's world, I'll give you 10 million Saint Spirit stones. I guarantee that if there's a war, your Tianjiang domain won't be affected, the black-clothed man said. The black-clothed man was the elder of the Demon Wing clan, Mo Tiantu. He was the person in charge of the small team sent by Yu Tian and Mo Tianji. After arriving in the celestial realm, they started investigating with the information in their hands. They knew that Mo Tianji's body was in Night Sorrow's hands, so they investigated Night Sorrow first. Then, they found out that Night Sorrow was the domain lord of a domain. It would be difficult to fight their way in, so they needed allies. In addition, they needed to find Jun Xuanji, who was in the image in the crystal ball. Mo Tiantu's original body was connected to his doppelganger. The Demon Wing clan's diviner divined again and took out a new image. Afterward, Mo Tiantu captured human cultivators to ask, but he still couldn't identify the specific location. Therefore, Mo Tiantu needed to find allies. As for the choice of allies, Ma Tiantu chose a few: Donghao Mountain, Tianya Pavilion, and Yuan Ji's Tianjiang domain. His first choice was Yuan Ji. According to the information he had gathered, Yuan Ji had no bottom line and was a shameless person. Other than that, he analyzed where he could gain a foothold. Donghao Mountain and World Edge Pavilion weren't at the end of their rope, so they still had a chance to develop. However, Yuan Ji couldn't. He was in danger of being destroyed at any time. Okay. I'll double the benefits. Take half first, and I'll consider cooperating. After thinking for a while, Yuan Ji made his decision. He felt that it was better to accumulate some resources first. In the future, if he wanted to hide, he would have a chance to develop with abundant resources. Okay, double the benefits won't be a problem. But first, tell me where the scene in this crystal ball is. Mo Tiantu took out a crystal ball. Swear to the heavenly law first. Take out half of the Saint Spirit stones, and we'll start working together. Yuan Ji's face looked cold. Okay, you also have to swear to the heavenly law that you can't betray today's agreement, Mo Tiantu said. Ma Tiantu said. He was also afraid that if one day Yuan Ji Fantian did not recognize them and knew too much, their small team could easily be wiped out. After the two of them swore to the heavenly law, Mo Tiantu gave Yuan Ji 10 million Saint Spirit stones right away. When he came, he was already prepared to bribe people, so he brought a lot of resources. Yuan Ji took a look at the crystal ball in Mo Tiantu's hand and didn't see anything special. When he looked at it for the second time, Yuan Ji noticed a symbol. The first city of the human race, the divine capital. The person you're looking for is in the divine capital. The sign behind her is the Humanitarian League. Go to the divine capital and find the Humanitarian League, and you'll find the person you're looking for, Yuan Ji said. Okay, the first cooperation is done. As for the second cooperation, you have to help us think of a way. Mo Tiantu's heart brightened. His main goal was to find Jun Xuanji. Chapter 1799. Who? Ma Tiantu looked at Yuan Ji and asked. Tsang Ning of the Ethereal Dynasty. I want to kill her clone and capture her real body. Yuan Ji's words were cold, and even the temperature in the city lord's residence dropped. What cultivation level? Don't tell me she's an emperor. If she's an emperor, we can't do anything because we don't have an emperor among us. The highest cultivation level among those who came through the passage is an emperor. Ma Tiantu looked at Yuan Ji and said. Not an emperor, but an emperor. Yuan Ji shook his head. Song Ning had become his sore point. He knew that if Song Ning found him, she would kill him. Cultivation level is an emperor? That's fine. For a pleasant cooperation and to show our sincerity, we'll help you with this. However, you have to investigate the information carefully. You can't let us fall into a trap. Ma Tiantu thought for a while and said. He hoped that Yuan Ji could sincerely serve the Demon Wing clan, so he planned to help Yuan Ji with this. Thank you. I've been dreaming of this. Therefore, I'll definitely take care of the information. Yuan Ji nodded. Then, Ma Tiantu and Yuan Ji talked about the second cooperation. Yuan Ji was clear about the development of the forces in Star Moon Lake. Therefore, he planned to infiltrate the forces in Star Moon Lake with his subordinates. All right. As long as we can infiltrate one of them, it doesn't matter if their cultivation level is low. We can use the spatial treasure to bring our experts into Night Sorrow's world. By then, we'll rule his world. You can take revenge however you want. You like women. Night Sorrow has a few beautiful wives. Ma Tiantu said. Yuan Ji laughed. He felt that the future prospects were very good. If he took down Song Ning secretly, he would blame it on the Demon Wing clan. In addition, if he took down Night Sorrow's world, he would have another stronghold to hide in. Divination wasn't omnipotent. For example, the teleportation array between the realm and the celestial realm had an illusion array around it. Even if it was divination, one couldn't see the surroundings or determine the location. As long as one wanted to hide, they could hide. Yuan Ji sent people to investigate and provided some identities for the Demon Wing clan so that they could appear freely in the celestial realm. Ma Tiantu and the others entered the celestial realm with broken wings and horns, so they looked no different from humans. Ma Tiantu's people, except for his original body, who was in the celestial wasteland, the others came with his original body and avatars. This was because the space passage had a spatial treasure. The space passage had its original body and his avatars. As for using a spatial magic treasure to carry a cultivator through a spatial tunnel, that was unrealistic. Even in a spatial magic treasure, the energy contained in the cultivator's body would create pressure on the spatial tunnel. This was the law of the heavenly Tao. Of course, the teleportation array was a different situation. It used the energy law of the teleportation stone. Mo Tiantu was an elder of the Demon Wing clan. He was already a high-ranking member. The clan could not allow his true body to take the risk of being killed. Besides, he had to receive orders from the clan. Therefore, his true body did not come. The rest of the members went through the space passage together with their true body and doppelgangers. Ma Tiantu sent Sha Mo to the divine capital to look for Jun Xuanji. He asked Sha Mo to find a reason to follow Jun Xuanji, even if he had to lower himself. He had to help Jun Xuanji reach the Emperor realm at all costs. Before Jun Xuanji reached the Emperor realm, he could not mention anything about the Demon Wing clan. Mo Tianji had told Ma Tiantu and the others that she was sure Jun Xuanji was her avatar. She had to help Jun Xuanji rise. If she could not get her original body back, her original body's soul would move into the new body. Her strength would not be affected too much. If she got her original body back, she could merge the two and her strength would increase greatly. Sha Mo went with his original body. His avatar stayed with Ma Tiantu so that he could report to him. Sha Mo also brought some things prepared by Mo Tianji, such as books and resources. Yi Shang didn't know about these things. His state of mind was very stable. For him, there were human almighties watching over the affairs of the human race. The city lord of Tianhuang City and King Miao Wu were both peerless giants. Below them was the council of elders of the human race. As an imperial emperor, he could take care of himself. The 9 regions world and Star Moon Lake were developing well. He did not need to worry about them. What are you thinking about? Lin Piaomiao asked when she saw Knight Sorrow's eyes were a little dazed. Nothing. I just feel that it's not right to push Uncle Master away, Knight Sorrow said with a smile. I never thought that I would be able to cultivate on Yawa Mountain or with my husband. Lin Piaomiao's face was filled with happiness. I didn't think about it either because I used to think that the highest level cultivators could reach was supremacy. Who would have thought that after becoming a supremacy, I would have to charge towards the Saint Realm? Yi Sheng also smiled. When he looked back, there were some things he admired himself for. Have some tea first. I'll go tidy up the hut. Lin Piaomiao blushed. It was time for the two of them. Let's do it together. Knight Sorrow smiled and followed Lin Piaomiao to tidy up the hut. Knight Sorrow, I want a child. But it's hard for an emperor to have a descendant. Not to mention, you're an emperor who cultivates the body. I'm an emperor, Lin Piaomiao said softly. Have you thought about it? Mortals can only have children for a few decades. Young and old can't do it. But what about us? We have an endless lifespan. If 10 years is not enough, we can have 100 years. If 100 years is not enough, we can have 1,000 years. If that's not enough, what about 1,000,000 years? Knight Sorrow hugged Lin Piaomiao and whispered. Are you trying to torture me to death? By the way, you don't mind that I kicked you that day, right? Lin Piaomiao looked up at Knight Sorrow and asked. Why would I? I'm just a rank 9 emperor. Other than me, no one else would be kicked off the bed by the bride. Knight Sorrow's face was full of smiles. I thought you wouldn't be happy if you didn't say it. I've always wanted to explain it to you. But with someone else around, it wasn't convenient. I won't do it again. Lin Piaomiao said softly. Sister Xian, marriage is about supporting and relying on each other. There's no need to feel apologetic or guilty about some things. I married you because I want to give you happiness. This will not change. Knight Sorrow patted Lin Xian's back and said. I knew I didn't choose the wrong person. I'll make it up to you tonight. Lin Piaomiao said to Knight Sorrow. Yong Fei. Z looked at the little $3 and said. Sister Xian, I feel that it's not appropriate to do that at the peak of Yawa Mountain. This is where the human race's destiny is. It's blasphemous. Why don't we walk around the foot of the mountain? Since we have a spatial treasure, we can go in whenever we want. Knight Sorrow said. Chapter 1800. Knight Sorrow and Lin Piaomiao lived a sweet life. During the day, Lin Piaomiao would cultivate his spear art. At night, the two of them would go out for a walk and spend the night in other places. The main reason was that they were in awe of the Providence Dragon at the peak of Yawa Mountain. After a month of such days, Knight Sorrow's anxious state of mind calmed down. He also planned to cultivate in seclusion for the second time. Lin Piaomiao supported Knight Sorrow's decision. Imosty new chapter *% section %# then, Knight Sorrow went to his original cultivation place and started his second seclusion. When Knight Sorrow's power of merit was activated, the energy eruption at the peak of Yawa Mountain intensified once again. The energy eruption at the peak of Yawa Mountain was different from energy eruptions in other environments. After the energy eruption of Yawa Mountain reached the sky, it stirred up the will of heaven and earth and the momentum of heaven and earth. After a cycle, it would fall back into Yawa Mountain. It was the horn of the Providence Dragon. It was where the energy would not leak and would not become the weakness of the Providence Dragon. As Knight Sorrow cultivated, Lin Piaomiao also sat down and started cultivating. Knight Sorrow's heaven and earth vision was very beneficial to her. Most importantly, the energy here contained the providence power of the human race. While Yishuan's main body was cultivating in seclusion, Night Sorrow's clone was still cultivating his spear art every day. On Night Sorrow's day, King Yawu came while he was cultivating his spear art. After stopping his cultivation, Night Sorrow brewed a pot of tea for King Yawu. "Uncle Master is here." "Nothing much. I just came to see you. How have you been recently?" King Yawu took a sip of tea and savored it carefully. "After relaxing my state of mind, I continued my seclusion." "Uncle Master, you can go back. I won't know if any small fry went to see me," Night Sorrow said. He knew that King Yawu had stayed on Yawu Mountain for countless years and might not be used to leaving. "That's fine. I'll listen to you. I'll go back later. Your senior brother has passed the 5 tribulations of the heavenly Tao. He'll be able to improve faster if he goes back." King Yawu nodded. Then, King Yawu asked about Night Sorrow's spear practice and gave him a few pointers. "Let's go for a walk. I'll introduce you to a few people," King Yawu said to Night Sorrow. Then, King Yawu took Night Sorrow to the streets. "Back then, when I was with your master, I would often go out with your master. Your master was arrogant when he was young. He only stabilized after he achieved something. Now, you are the one accompanying me." King Yawu sighed. "It's hard to find a bosom friend in life. Master has a brother like Uncle Master, so he won't have any regrets in his life," Night Sorrow said. "You can't say that. I have no regrets having a disciple like you." King Yawu shook his head. King Yawu brought Night Sorrow to the City Lord's mansion. Inside the City Lord's mansion, the two of them sat and talked. When they saw King Yawu, the two of them stood up and greeted him. Of the two, one of them was someone Night Sorrow knew. It was the 7th elder, Lu Qi. The other was a white-haired elder that Night Sorrow had never seen before. "Elder Lu Qi, you know him. He is the law enforcement elder of the Tianhuang city and also the law enforcement elder of the divine capital city. The two cities can communicate with each other. This is Elder Yan Qi. Elder Yan Qi, this is my nephew, Night Sorrow." After the introductions, King Yawu sat down on the city lord's big chair. Yan Qi greets the young city lord. The white-haired elder cupped his hands at Night Sorrow. "Elder Yan, please don't call me that. Just call me Night Sorrow." Night Sorrow quickly helped Yan Qi up. "Elder Yan, he is the same as Fentian. He doesn't care about these things. You don't have to call him young city lord. They have their own paths," King Yawu said to Yan Qi. Yan Qi understands. Yan Qi nodded at King Yawu. "Elder Yan, you know that Night Sorrow is the Alliance Master of the Humanitarian League. Night Sorrow is young, Pu Luo is more casual, and the Great Demon King is more flamboyant. They have a lawless personality. There is no problem with their nature. They are all talents of the human clan. If there is anything inappropriate, you can talk to Night Sorrow," King Yawu said. Yan Qi understands. The Humanitarian League is developing fast and expanding very quickly. However, no matter what industry it is fair and just. There is no hegemony. From the overall situation, it is conducive to stability. They also voluntarily handed over some resources to the City Lord's mansion. I calculated that it should be 1/3 of their resource income. Yan Qi reported to King Yawu. In that case, they only left a part of it because they also sent some resources to the Tianhuang city. Lu Qi said. He knew about the Tianhuang city. Night Sorrow, what's the situation? King Yawu looked at Night Sorrow. He really didn't know about these things. I didn't ask about the Humanitarian League. However, when the Humanitarian League was established, we said that the purpose of the Humanitarian League is to punish evil and promote good. It is to stabilize the foundation of the human clan. The resources should be decided by Elder Pu Luo and the others, Night Sorrow said. Punish evil and promote good. It is a good purpose to stabilize the foundation of the human clan. Elder Yen, you heard it. If there is a black-hearted force and the city lord's mansion is not suitable to deal with it, you can ask Night Sorrow to deal with it. King Yawu said. Yen Qi nodded. He knew that as King Yawu's nephew, Night Sorrow would not mess around. In addition, he also felt that Night Sorrow was easy to communicate with. That's enough. Who has wine? Take it out. King Yawu raised his chin at several people. The wine was naturally brought by Night Sorrow. After drinking a jar of wine in the city lord's mansion, Night Sorrow returned to the Night Moon Villa. Night Sorrow didn't go to cultivate right away. Instead, he went to the hall of the Night Moon Villa. Who is this? Isn't this our cultivation maniac? Why are you free? Yu Zhu asked Night Sorrow. Just now, I went to the city lord's mansion and had a chat with Marshal Uncle and 2 stewards, Yi Shang said as he sat down. What's wrong? Is King Yawu dissatisfied with the Humanitarian League? Pu Luo asked Night Sorrow. We think we are fair enough. The Great Demon King's face darkened. You are thinking too much. Uncle Master introduced me to the 2 elders. They are very supportive of the development of the Humanitarian League, Night Sorrow said. I knew it. Who is King Yawu? He wouldn't accuse us, Yu Zhu said with a smile. Aside from Uncle Master, the 2 elders are also very satisfied. Who decided to give the resources? It's a good decision. As long as we have enough resources, we can give some to Tianhuang City and Shendu City. This way, the human race will have more resources, Night Sorrow said. Everyone discussed it together. However, it's good to have you as the leader. You have insider information. Even if they are dissatisfied with us, they will let us know in advance. They won't attack us directly, Pu Luo said. The Humanitarian League is developing well and has a good reputation. Imperial emperors have come to join us. The general manager of the Humanitarian League already has 2 imperial emperors. The imperial emperor I sent has already returned, the Great Demon King said. Chapter 1801. Look at the pie on the F in Section Z of Chapter 8, yes, there are 2 imperial emperors who joined the Human Dao sect. One of them is a peak-level imperial emperor. He took the initiative to say that he would protect you. After the imperial emperor under me came back to report to me, I told her to retreat, said the Great Demon King. That won't do. We don't know anything about the new monarchs. It's easy for problems to arise, Night Sorrow frowned, feeling that it wasn't safe. Night Sorrow, do you think there's a problem? The Great Demon King looked at Night Sorrow and asked. Why would a peak monarch protect others so easily? Would you believe me if I said I didn't have any ulterior motives? Our Humanitarian League hasn't reached that level yet, Night Sorrow said. Then I'll arrange for them to go back and tell the head steward who can be trusted. If those 2 fellows have any ulterior motives, I'll crush them to death and make them regret coming to this world, the Great Demon King said with killing intent. The Demon Wing clan attacked Tianhuang City a few times, wanting to break through the blockade. Their goal is Mo Tianji's body, so their target is me. This caused us to become the center of the conflict, Night Sorrow said to the Great Demon King and the others. We really have to be careful. Who knows if the Demon Wing clan has any tricks up their sleeves? Great Demon King, Yuzhu, Ruisi, we're older than Night Sorrow. We have to be careful, Pu Luo said. The Great Demon King nodded, I'll make arrangements for this. Jun Xuanji is now in charge of the Humanitarian League's development. Nothing can happen to him. Also, he was sent by Night Sorrow. After that, Night Sorrow and the Great Demon King left Night Moon Villa together. The 2 of them first went to the stronghold of the Great Demon King's faction. The Great Demon King called over his female monarch. Liuyu, this is Night Sorrow, the Alliance Lord of the Humanitarian League, the Merit Emperor. In the future, his orders will be the same as mine, the Great Demon King said to Monarch Liuyu. Greetings, Alliance Master. Emperor Lu Yu bowed to Knight Sorrow. Monarch Lu Yu is too polite. The situation is like this. I trust the great demon king, so I trust you. However, the new monarch of the Humanitarian League can't. I don't feel at ease, Knight Sorrow said. Thank you for your trust, Alliance Master. Of those two monarchs, one of them used to be from the divine capital, so there shouldn't be any problems. However, Lu Yu doesn't know the other monarch, but he did everything perfectly. He even gave Manager June a cultivation technique. I felt that there was no problem, so Lu Yu reported to Sir Devil King. Lu Yu explained the situation to Knight Sorrow. No problem, that's the biggest problem. You still have to go back and monitor the situation of those two. Now that the Humanitarian League is developing smoothly, there can't be any internal problems. Thanks for your hard work. Knight Sorrow cupped his hands towards Lu Yu. Lord Alliance Master is too polite. Thank you for your trust, Lord Alliance Master. Lu Yu will take note. Lu Yu nodded. Following this, Knight Sorrow and the others arrived at the Humanitarian League's headquarters. The Region Lord is here. Seeing Knight Sorrow, Jun Xuanji was very happy. How have you been? Knight Sorrow smiled at Jun Xuanji, then found a seat and sat down. Very good, everything has been going well. Sir Devil King, please have a seat. Monarch Lu Yu, please have a seat. Jun Xuanji invited everyone to sit. At that moment, Knight Sorrow looked at Jun Xuanji's two guards. Chen Nua, Sha Mo, this is the Humanitarian League's Alliance Master, Knight Sorrow, Jun Xuanji said to the two men standing beside him. Jun Xuanji said to the two men standing to the side. They were both monarchs and were Jun Xuanji's guards. Chen Nua greets the Alliance Master. A man in green clothes bowed to Knight Sorrow. He used to be a monarch under a faction in the divine capital that had been smashed by a brick. Now that he felt that the Humanitarian League was good, he joined the Humanitarian League. Monarch Chen Nua is too polite, Knight Sorrow cupped his hands in return. Sha Mo greets the Alliance Master. Sha Mo was shocked. He came to the divine capital to find Jun Xuanji, but he did not expect the Humanitarian League's Alliance Master to be Knight Sorrow. Hearing Knight Sorrow's name, his heart was in turmoil because Knight Sorrow could be said to be their first target. To Mo Tianji, her main body was the most important, so finding Knight Sorrow and taking back her main body was her first task. Her second task was to help Jun Xuanji reach the monarch realm. Knight Sorrow sensed the enmity in Sha Mo's heart. Sha Mo, do we know each other? Knight Sorrow asked. Sha Mo is a loose cultivator. I just came to the divine capital, so I have not seen the Alliance Master before, Sha Mo bowed and said. Oh, I thought you looked like an acquaintance from many years ago. I was mistaken, Knight Sorrow said with a smile. The great demon king was suspicious. He was mistaken. This was a little too casual. After chatting for a while, Knight Sorrow looked at Jun Xuanji and said, Xuanji, you are a woman. It is not very convenient for you to have two male guards. Let them do some peripheral work. It is more suitable for you to have a female guard. Liu Yu will stay with you. Okay, Jun Xuanji nodded with a smile. She was willing to accept Knight Sorrow's arrangement. Also, I plan to hold a banquet tonight. You and Liu Yu can come together. I will trouble Chen Nua and Sha Mo to take care of things here, Knight Sorrow said as he stood up and was about to leave. Lord Alliance Master is too polite, Chen Nua and Sha Mo cupped their hands at Knight Sorrow. After that, Knight Sorrow and the Great Demon King left the Humanitarian League's headquarters. Knight Sorrow, did you find anything? The Great Demon King asked after they were some distance away. A little. I didn't find anything wrong with Chen Nua. However, there is something wrong with Sha Mo. He is hostile towards me and wants to kill me, Knight Sorrow said. You can feel that? The Great Demon King asked in surprise. Perhaps this is one of the benefits of having the power of virtue. People with evil intentions will annoy me. People who are hostile towards me and want to kill me will arouse my vigilance. Night Sorrow didn't hide anything from the great demon king. Then I will go back and kill him. No one can have any ideas about our humanitarian league. If he wants to kill you, there is no need to keep him alive. The great demon king turned and walked towards the humanitarian league. He didn't want to spend the night with anyone who had a grudge against him. Don't. There must be a reason for his enmity towards me. When we return, let's find a fortune teller to divine his origins. Then, we'll see where he came from. I don't really understand because I've offended all the rank 9 monarchs before. I don't have a reason for this. Yi Shang said what he didn't understand. Then let's find someone to divine which faction he comes from and whether he is a rogue cultivator or not. The key is to find out the faction behind him. The great demon king knew why Night Sorrow was able to remain calm. I asked Jun Xuanji and Liu Yu to come to the banquet to remind them to be more vigilant. They only see that the Humanitarian League is safe in the Divine Capital and don't think about the dangers. Night Sorrow said, "You're tuning in to the Romantic Tales YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories."